Oh yes, legends. How's everybody doing? Hope you're doing fantastic. Let's analyze the situation here all together for the price of Bitcoin. Let's go. Hope you're doing absolutely wonderful today, guys. We'll be analyzing the scenarios here for the price of Bitcoin, of course. Make sure to destroy that like button if you do enjoy the content, guys, and we'll dive in right away through the different scenarios. First of all, I think we're going to take a look at the comment section. We got New York open here in the next couple of minutes. Nothing too major. There is a good chance that Bitcoin does take out these local highs again. We did form a little swing failure pattern from the range highs overall, guys. Anybody that is shorting eventually, we're shorting a major uptrend. Collect your profits on these movement downs if you did get into this swing failure pattern. I have to say, I didn't get in, guys. This was late last night and wasn't too interested, but we did have a little move of $1,000. And obviously looking for long trades, here we need to manage risk very, very well, okay? Because overall we are at the range highs, and this is a moment to be cautious, right? Are we going to get that blast off? Are we just going to chop around here and then get an ultimate reversal in the next coming days? Of course, that is what I do expect. I don't see a massive blast off from this zone, okay? We've got some major levels. We're going to have to analyze how the price could develop, all right, throughout the next coming hours and the next coming days to really look at the different possibilities, all right? Let's say hello to the beautiful community. We got that swing failure pattern throughout yesterday of the range highs, so failed breakout just to test right over here, little pullback. Momentum is still bullish, guys. We've been quite bullish. This trend is very, very explosive, and it seems like it doesn't want to stop, but it could be coming to the end stages. We'll be going through some Elliot Wave scenarios, of course, analyzing the different possibilities. Make sure to smash up the like button. We'll be taking a look at the liquidity, some interesting news. The new president of Venezuela, guys, something that I wanted to point out there. We'll be going through different scenarios today, okay? Different news and topics, okay? Let's say hello to the beautiful community. Let me know if you can hear me, guys, if you can see me. For the moment, it looks all good on my side. Smash up the like button. We are pumping, guys. Yeah, the fact that movements down are very corrective still. Movements down are very, very corrective, and it does look like that the price wants to take out these highs potentially. If we do analyze this structure, all the movements down, guys, are failing to form some kind of an impulse, and looking like a very, very corrective structure. Where we are at the moment, we are getting a little reaction at the previous day point of control. Not an interesting area to look for shorts, at least for me, guys. I do seriously see that the probabilities are higher to take out the highs at the moment. So shorting here, a lower high for me. I don't have a plan here for a short. So yeah, we got New York open at the moment. Let's just double check here. Just let's see here the stock market, how it's doing at the moment. Opening with a nice little pump. Opening with a nice little pump here. Bitcoin with a little dump. Bitcoin has already been pumping throughout the last 30 minutes. Now getting a pullback. Previous day point of control is what is attempting to break out here. We just claimed that first lower high, as we can see here, from the downtrend that we formed. So not worth it, at least for me anyway. Anybody that wanted to attempt that SFP from the first lower high, I do see the high probability of hitting this high, and I want to explain that, okay, before I go through the comment section. This is something that I was talking about in the Telegram community this morning, purely based of this structure that we had to the downside. Now, this had the possibility of being something bearish. However, if we do take out this lower high, there is an increased probability that this is corrective. The main reason why is because you cannot see any kind of impulsive move to the downside being developed here. There's no contracting diagonal, because if you connect your wave 1 with your wave 3 and your wave 2 with your wave 4, it should be an expanding move, and your wave 5 needs to be longer than your wave 3, which is not the case. So the only bearish scenario that was possible here is a development of multiple 1-2s to then break down in a third wave, which we did not get. Of course, taking out the last lower high increases the probabilities that all of this is a corrective 3-wave structure with a potential zigzag, a running flat, and another zigzag down, something like that, right? But it's overall a 3-wave correction. And as we did take out that last lower high, the bears lost their chance to push the price down, claiming the last lower high, increasing the probabilities to take out this high at some point, as this is likely a correction. Okay, so shorts are not looking extremely attractive as of yet, guys, as we do analyze the local momentum that we've had in the last 24 hours. We got a lot of things to talk about. Stock market, S&P index is getting a nice little pump as we got New York open, but we are going to be focusing mainly on Bitcoin, of course. Higher time frame, 4 hour. What do we have here? Testing the range highs, getting a little reaction. Is this the ultimate SFP fake pump, guys? And it's time to roll over aggressively. We're in a bear market. Come on, guys. 2026. 4-year cycle theory. These pumps are fake. You are exit liquidity. Don't get too bullish, right? You're going to hear some people say that. Let's go through the comment section, say hello to the beautiful community, and then we'll focus in. Give it a little gentle tap on that like button, and we'll talk about the different scenarios. I have to say, this was a difficult long position, but as we took this high, I was talking about this in the Legends Pro community, which is Mind Pillar right now. We are putting everything together, VIP, the Pro community. We're going to make one product, okay, which will be launched very, very soon. I will be leaving my Telegram down below for anybody that wants to join or wants any information. I will be letting you know, guys. Of course, if you do sign up with the links down below in the description, you are getting that bonus that will be announced, of course. Okay, once, hang on a minute. I've got this all wrong. I got all this all wrong, guys. Sorry about that. Need to adjust this. You probably weren't seeing half of the analysis there. Why didn't anybody say anything? There we go. That's more like it. Let me just double check here. There we go. That's more like it. Sorry about that, guys. Had half of the screen here being chopped off in the middle. Let's go through the comment section and say hello to the beautiful community. As I was saying, guys, if you do sign up down below with one of the links in the description, okay, where you get some great bonuses anyway on the sign up, such as bluffing, $1,000 if you deposit 7K, 750 if you deposit 5K. We've got some interesting perks, of course, with the links down below in the description, bluffing or Velto, BTCC, and I'll be leaving the Telegram down below in the next coming days, potentially on Friday, with the new product, and leaving my DMs here open for the people that are interested in joining. So let's just say hello to the beautiful community. Much love to you, Charles. Thanks for the support. We'll be in contact very, very soon as I leave the Telegram. Super bearish CVD divergence. That is very, very, I would say, yes, kind of true. I'm going to do a little tiny tutorial here on the CVD. Because we have had ultimately bearish CVD divergence as well on Bybit, mainly on US dollar tether and on US dollar pair as well. So BTC perp. However, we did claim the lows. So very locally, yes, there was a bearish CVD divergence and we got the drop. As you can see on CVD, when you do create higher highs and lower highs throughout this downtrend that we've had today, this corrective move, then these bearish CVD divergence have already played out, because you just need to take out the local lows, okay? So all of these longs entering in this area supposedly, you know, probably got a little washed out here on this movement down, stopped out or liquidated, right? Basically. So it is true that we have these new ones right over here. So that, yeah, we're still extending higher highs and lower highs still. However, we cannot count this one no longer because we already took out the local lows, okay? The local lows, when you have lower highs and higher highs, the lows is the target of the CBD, which has been already been met, as you can see. So these ones are not that powerful. Of course, if we wouldn't have taken out these local lows, then this would have been interesting for that movement down to take out the lows. But as you can see, we literally took out the lows a couple of hours ago with that movement down. So these bearish CVDs are not that powerful anymore because local lows have been taken already. So anyway, let's go through the comment section. Bearish CVD but bullish funding rates, tricky. Also, how are you doing, dude? James, much love to you, brother. I'm doing absolutely wonderful. Saludos nuevamente desde Colombia, todos los días conectado aquí. Thank you very much, my man. Saludos desde Emiratos Árabes Unidos. Much love, Clan Bursátil. Hey, Andy, do you think we will get into a trade today? Very possible. I got a few scenarios, even though I'm not sure if we are going to get them right over here. You know, it is true that there's a high probability in taking out this high, purely based on this local structure. So jumping into a long here is like, I talked about a possible long entry if we corrected here. However, this correction was very, very shallow. This was mentioned today in the pro community. This is literally a mine pillar at the moment, which is the new product. But talking about if we do take out this high right over here, I'm not sure if you guys can see this. Literally, if we do take out this lower high, it's highly likely that we're going to push up here because this is corrective. Okay, so analyzing this movement down, the bears did have a chance. If we take out that last lower high, the bears are losing the power, of course, to start a major impulsive move down, converting this structure that we had from the rejection of, you know, 94.6k. Very likely a correction, which means we look for higher prices, guys, right? What can we say? So ultimately, hang on a minute, getting all this. There we go. Let's just close the Telegram as we don't need it. Let's just go through the comment section. Mariella, my legend, how are you doing, Mariella? Much love to you. Morning legend. Let's pump the like for the legend. Much love, Mariella, to you. Thanks for joining the stream. Let's I need to go through everybody because I feel like it needs to be done. I need to say hello to all of you, or almost all of you. Simple 3 Jack, much love to you, my man. Nice to see you around again. Alex, legend. Looks like another day for the bulls. Does look like it, at least to take out the local highs, and I'm a little bit skeptical of a double top, right? It's like, come on. You know, the market is bullish, right? You know, I'm not that interested too much on, you know, as having such a bullish market structure here throughout the last few days to attempt shorts. Of course, if you can get the sniper entry, you know, you get the movement down and you can protect position. It's okay for the attempts. If you did attempt yesterday, the swing failure pattern from the range highs, basically, I mean, the price did move down $1,000, $1,500 approximately. It's a day trade, it's a scalp. The market is so damn bullish that if you are looking to get into a short, man, take profits, because this is just wanting to form higher lows, right? And we had a little bit of a fake out of the yearly level, which was interesting because, yeah, yearly level is significant, right? We almost tapped it here, but literally resistance, a little bit of reaction. We back tested the yearly level. Basically, this was the yearly close of 2024 and yearly open of 2025 at 93,350. And we can see, you know, there's something going on here at this yearly level of resistance and support. Now, we had a little bit of a fake out here and got back above. And yeah, false alarm, guys. False alarm. Yearly level maintaining as support here so far, and this structure to the downside is looking very, very corrective, which is, you know, very, very much increasing the probabilities that we're likely going to take out the highs again here, legends. Okay, so new trades. We will be focusing. I don't have any major scalp setups for the moment. I mean, the most interesting scalp would have been this retracement, which was very shallow. Preferably you do come down to the 50%, 618, and you attempt that long position. It was very, very shallow, I have to say, as a pullback. But ultimately, the VWAP is what's holding our support right there, right? So if you wanted to add a little bit of confidence that as we did take out that lower high, right? This is technically a new higher high. When you do take a look at this local structure to the downside, right? It's a bearish local structure on the 15-minute time frame, okay? As soon as you form another lower low, lower highs, lower low, that's a confirmed higher high. So that is the break of this downtrend structure, literally. So the pullback here has a good chance to form a higher low. Depending on what tools, I obviously enjoy much better to get in at the deepest pullback possible. Usually, like, I prefer minimum to hit the 50%. This literally just hit the 382 Fibonacci. We wanted to long here the VWAP, you know, that's the scalper's level. Of course, right now, bit of a three-wavy move up. It's going to be interesting here on this pullback. I wouldn't like to see this higher low to be claimed. So, yeah, we're probably going to get lots of shorts entering here. Would be ideal to see lots of shorts entering at the moment to form some local bullish CBD divergence. But I do not want the bears to manage to claim this higher low. That would be a little bit interesting here. We would be probably looking at a larger corrective range. The only major bearish scenario here would be obviously 3 down, 3 up, and you form a 3 down here, and then you form some kind of a contracting diagonal, which I don't think is the case. Market structure is very, very bullish. So preferably the bulls defend this low right over here. You want to maintain this bullish market structure, because if you lose that low, this is going to be converted in a very three-wavy structure, which is not ideal. So preferably bulls maintain above 93,600 and just maintains, of course, this local bullish market structure and ends up, you know, taking out the highs here. Yeah, that's basically a little bit what we have locally. But yeah, let's go through the comment section. I want to focus a little bit more on the 4-hourly time frame, the 1-hourly time frame, because I do see swing short opportunities. However, we want to plan very, very well the swing short, because I didn't make that much on this movement to the upside. You know, did long on last Friday, did not long down here, managed to jump into a long on Friday, attempted a couple of shorts, tight stop losses, a couple at break even, a couple at a slight loss. So I'm really interested in the short, I have to say. You know, the moment that we get this momentum to the upside is getting ready for a short. Yeah, I'm no longer interested in jumping into longs or swing long positions to be taken all the way up here. So shorts are starting to look very, very attractive. However, we need to basically get the formation of what's happened throughout the range between November, December, part of January, and really come to the conclusion of, okay, you know, how far up can we go? Are we getting exhausted? Most importantly, focus on this last leg to the upside. All right, focus on this last leg to the upside. Will Bitcoin getting a pullback here? Would not want to see that low being hit. It looks like it wants to, because this no longer would be this too far away for this to be a flat. So we're probably just going to continue the range here. Getting a little bit of a pullback here with probably the S&P 500. S&P 500 pumping nicely. S&P 500 doing its thing to the upside. Oof, a little bit of a sharp pullback here on Bitcoin. Yeah, the problem is here, lots of longs have been entering. That is true. There has been lots of longs entering throughout the last hour with this pump. But yeah, this structure preferably is not changed. So we're coming back down to the VWAP. If we do move down here, yeah, those lows are claimed at the moment. So we're going to have to restructure a little bit here what's going on. Yeah, we're going to have to see how the price develops here throughout the next coming minutes. We just swept that low. Preferably this push to the upside managed to go to higher levels. Well, we're going to focus on the 1 hourly, the 15-minute time frame, and come to the conclusion on a bit more of a swing trade setup, right? Where we're looking for a movement at least of $2,000-$3,000, potentially more, that could develop in the next coming days. I do really believe that this is coming to its end stages when we do zoom out, and I'm not expecting a major blast off. Of course, we want to be a little bit cautious, aware about the blast off because of multiple 1-2s where the price action is literally just building up, and then ends up popping out. I don't believe that this is the scenario that's going to happen. Just because this would have to be, you know, your wave 1, wave 2, 1-2, and then lots of 1-2s here, and ultimately break out in a third wave, which is going to absolutely explode. I don't see this as something very bullish. Of course, we could go to 100, 102k. That is without a doubt a possibility throughout the next 1 to 2 weeks. But really looking at the price getting exhausted, and this is why we are going to focus on this movement to the upside, most importantly today, to identify, is this a bunch of 1-2s? Do we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? We're just going to finish that fifth wave, getting to 95, 96, and then get the rollover. So we want to, we want to identify all of this, as well as we are getting this movement to the upside that we've had throughout yesterday has moved up with increasing volume, which, with this higher high in volume on the movement to the upside, we want to be aware, of course, of the possibility of this being a wave 3, because inside of this we do have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And you usually want to label your wave 3 with the highest amount of volume, right? So that would be your wave 1 right over here, your wave 2. Inside of wave 3, you have 5 waves, finishing with high amount of volume, which automatically gives you the possibility, of course, that you could be seeing a 4th wave getting developed here, right? To then take out the highs again and move up with a lower amount of volume. That's what we want to see here, where we can actually say, okay, this is looking bearish right now, as we have decreasing volume, trying to break the resistance level, and naturally then look for a bigger move to the downside to come in the next coming days. So we're going to focus right over here on the 1 hourly, because if we do take a pullback down to the lows of the range, I have to say, longs need to be taken with really a grain of salt at this point, because we've had a massive rally, right, throughout the last 4 or 5 days. There's been a significant rally happening here. You don't want to be caught longing the Pico top as well, so we want to be very selective on how the price, what levels need to really hold as support. So if we do take out this low and maybe these higher lows, that would be like the last zone possibly to form a higher low, kind of a fake out of the yearly level. So you break down the yearly level, and we're going to have to see, right? But it's definitely a zone that we want to be a little bit cautious, because we've had a pretty decent rally, and we could be on the verge of getting a corrective move down, right? A larger one. For the moment, the probabilities are still high to take out the local highs. This movement down looks very, very corrective. So we'll be analyzing a little bit the possibilities if you get that movement down. So in that case, we do have this maybe being the wave 1, wave 2, this being wave 3, wave 4, and then wave 5 here to the upside. Just because we have increasing volume on this latest move from yesterday, and we do have a 5-wave move to the upside in this zone. So is there a wave 4 possible here? Well, where wave 4 needs to bounce is in between the 236 and the 50% Fibonacci. 236 has already been hit. Not sure if we are going to get that leg to the downside, but I would still be interested in seeing proof of support either at the 382 or the 50% Fibonacci. Maybe sweeps to the local lows, maybe gets to sweep up these lows, and we'll have to determine here if it is a good decision to get into the long, because we don't want to hit the golden pocket, because that would eliminate eventually the movement to the upside. It would basically confirm that the movement up locally has finished, and we are seeing the movement down as a new wave. So that would also break the structure of multiple 1-2s. If you have 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, you don't want to lose the latest higher lows. That would be obviously an invalidation of multiple 1-2s. And your only latest bullish scenario here would be still not finishing the impulse, which eventually would be from this point, because I like to see this as a triangle. Everything's very corrective here. So the new wave is the most important wave here. And it's trying to figure out where we at, right? And what spot we at the moment with this movement to the upside. And that would be one scenario. 1-2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for your wave 3 with a high amount of volume. That's all good. And maximum your wave 4 to come in between the 50% and the 382 Fibonacci. So we're going to have to see if the price comes down there, and if it does get a slowdown. Okay, we did have a lot of longs. I'm not a fan of those bearish CVD diversions. I mean, the bearish CVDs were technically there. Lots of longs entering here. Not too much on Bybit US dollar, but on US dollar Tether and the rest of exchanges, people were longing here. The pump, as you can see here, lots of longs entering, which are getting punished. You don't want to be careful longing here on the movement up, right? It's just not worth it. Not worth the risk to reward, because you want to take out the highs, right? It's just, you'd rather look for a miss. You know, the long has been missed. Don't want to long into a pump here, basically. If anything, long the pullback. So yeah, what is interesting here is that we've taken out this higher low, and we could be forming something more complex here in this range, which we will be analyzing, of course, right away. Yeah, 7-8 just missed right there. So literally a swing failure pattern here. You know, I'm not a fan of this. Getting into short here, almost at the 7-8, when this is looking very, very corrective. It's just not one of those. Yes, we had technically bearish CVD divergence, but it's just not one of those shorts that I wanted to enter here, literally. So not in my trading plan to short here, this level. So we might be forming a little bit of a WXY kind of structure here. Sideways corrective move. However, we're going to have to be a little bit more patient to see what information we do have here. Because if you have this movement to the downside, 3-wave up, 3-wave down, 3-wave up, this could squeeze in a triangle. It could squeeze in a triangle for a larger WXY. 3 down, 3 up. Yeah, or literally form, it could form a flat as well. If we still consolidate in this range, it's going to be bullish, without a doubt. Still looking for the local highs to be taken. So yeah, consolidation in this range, preferably without taking this low, is likely going to be bullish. So we're going to have to wait. If we do bounce up, then bounce down, and then bounce back up, we form a little bit of a triangle-y structure. It's just ranging a little bit longer here. We could be looking for a long if we do get a triangle formed in the next coming hours, because it will be pretty obvious that this is just a longer corrective range, and it's a matter of time that it's going to pop out and take out that high. So if we do form a couple of lower highs, a couple of higher lows in this little range, it's going to be looking very interesting for that long position. If it gets a little bit volatile, where it just pumps up, takes the high, and then pumps back down, I would consider the flat for your wave Y. So this would be W, your X, and a quick flat, sweep up the lows here quickly, get back above the yearly. Then it could be an interesting long. So yeah, gonna have to wait a little bit with this range, unfortunately, to see if we are going to consolidate in this zone, maintain above that yearly level. There's two options here, two main options that I would want to see. That is some kind of a triangle structure, or you pump back up, pump back down, almost take out the highs, but then you take out the lows. And it's just a liquidity game at the end of the day, which it just sweeps up, sweeps down. Then this would be an interesting long, just because we'll be looking for a possible flat here. But we want to be a little bit cautious as well on taking longs all the way up here. Without a doubt, we've had an incredible rally throughout the last few days, and we just we've tested the range highs, right, which is at 94.6k just yesterday. It's an area, of course, there's going to be a lot of shorts entering as well, because this is like the a beautiful zone, right, where a lot of traders say, I'm going to short as soon as we test these highs, right, which we've already been getting some rejection. So there is definitely some selling pressure coming in here at 94.6k. However, I would expect those highs to be taken based on the local price action as explained. So anyway, we're going to go through more scenarios, of course, mainly focusing on where are we at here, looking at the 4-hour time frame. Where are we at, right? What price action, what development, what structure do we have from the lows that were formed on the 21st of November, right? What is all this? Is it bullish? Is it bearish? Are we looking for a larger corrective range? How many waves could develop throughout the next coming days, even next 1 to 2 weeks, to determine what is the next scenario, next movement? Okay, so we'll be going through that on the 4-hourly. We'll be watching a little bit on the 15-minute time frame also, what's going on, because if we get that push down, as mentioned, I want to see some support from this pivot low to the pivot high at the 382 50% Fibonacci. This could be an interesting longing zone if we do get the movement down to this area. I'm going to remain a little bit patient here for any new longs in this range. We tested the range highs. Looking for longs here is it's a little bit challenging, understanding that, come on, yeah, it is challenging. If we were to get a bigger pullback, of course, this is the best area without a doubt. Sweep up these lows, got that cluster as well, 382 50% Fibonacci. That's going with the speculation of another 4 and a 5 wave here to get developed, take out the highs one more time. It's going to be, I think this is a perfect move to get people bearish and say that's it, right? We're going much lower, but we need to find some support in this zone. A little bit of local bullish market structure being developed. So I don't, it's probably not, we're probably not going to come down to this area. If we consolidate here throughout the next couple of hours, it's just likely going to be a sideways WXY. We just end up taking out the highs, right? We don't get that pullback. So not a fascinating zone where we are at the moment for any new trade setups, I have to say. Locally, very locally here. Last few days, I mean, we spotted a few scenarios. The recent one was last Sunday. Of course, yes, short, yes, long. We are uptrending. Longs are looking attractive. That was an interesting long. We like to sweep up range lows, sweep up the lows right there. We like these kind of setups. If you have bullish market structure, very choppy consolidation, we want to consider the sweep of the lows of the range here, which are, very, very attractive. This is why, if we do sweep up these lows, if we end up forming some kind of a cheeky flat here, so you got a 3-wave down, 3-wave up, you get move down, move up, just gently take out the highs and then the lows. This could be interesting, right? If we do get a pump, it ends up being a fake out, we don't take out the highs yet, we come down. That's an interesting long, of course, especially if you sweep up the lows. That is a long. If we do form this kind of momentum in the next coming hours, I would consider this as a complex, right? Wiki, up, down, sideways correction, just to finally take out the highs, of course, at the end of the day, because this is the kind of movement that you're going to get a lot of bears entering, a lot of shorts entering the market just to squeeze them out. So this is an attractive move to the upside if it were to be the case. If not, triangle squeeze and then just pop out, which is something that could develop here. You're just gonna have to wait a little bit for that formation, see if it does get that formation. I know it could form, I'm not sure if it will form, but if it does, then I know what I'm looking for here. So let's go through the comment section. I saw some dude on YouTube enter a short position of 200k on XRP at 182 last week. Damn, I'm not sure where XRP is. I'm a little bit out on altcoins, guys. Had a little bit of a rest on altcoins the last few months, but apparently he's not doing that well, or maybe he managed risk, maybe he didn't. But shorting down here, you got the squeeze up here on XRP as well. Guys, I want to talk about something which is super important. Did you hear about the new president of Venezuela? First of all, I almost forgot, guys. Most important here is a big disclaimer, guys. This content is for educational purposes only and is not financial advice. The information provided is not guaranteed to be accurate or complete. Always conduct your own research before making any financial decision, right? I'm only just a crazy guy on YouTube that has some experience and wants to talk about some little tips and tricks, right? And that's basically it. Anyway, let's go right away through the comment section. Pull back to zero. Pull back to zero. Dump to 90k. Dump it. Dump it. Bear team in the comment. Bear team here is muy bearish. Muy bearish. Unfortunately, well, this has been a little bit of a bummer here right there, because this 3-wave move up, claim that higher low, that probably means that this is just forming a larger complex sideways correction, okay? Because ultimately the most important move to determine if this is going to be bearish is this movement to the downside, which is very, very 3-wavy. It's very, very 3-wavy. The third wave failed, so to go to lower prices and took out the lower highs. So it's very, very corrective. As this movement up looks corrective as well, obviously the conclusion here is that we're forming some kind of a sideways correction before taking out the highs. What can I say? So yeah, that's basically it here. Let's go through comment section. You can see some people quite bearish. Exactly what? Consider the CME gap as well. Yeah, we talked about the CME gap a few days ago, but we didn't give it too much love or attention on Sunday. We did mention, yes, we could come down there. We still had a long scalp possibility throughout Sunday, right? This was this scenario right over here. Okay, we did talk about the possibility of the price moving to the upside once we tested 90,900 on Sunday. We got the CME gap, yes. However, we might leave the gap behind, and this is what we did, right? It's very, very common that we're going to open with a gap. Do we fill it on Monday, or do we just continue to the upside, which has been kind of the case throughout the last couple of days, right? So it is true, we got a couple of gaps here. We got one at 91k zone, and the other one also at 88k. This was formed on a basically on Christmas. So we got another gap there. Wouldn't be paying too much attention to the gaps. We know they act as support. That would be interesting if we do come down to fill the gap. But the gap is it would be quite low. It would be quite low if we consider the market structure still being bullish. CME gap is all the way down here. It would be a little bit too much of a correction. You would be literally breaking the uptrend structure. So locally still, as mentioned, the probabilities are high to take out the highs again here, guys. So I'm not that interested in shorts as of yet, but I am interested depending on how the price develops throughout the next coming hours. We need to plan how the price could move. We still have time. It's not as easy as, in this case, double top, right? And then we nuke. We want to be very, very cautious. We've got some levels of resistance here. We want to see how the price does develop to the upside from the whichever local lows we have, to see that impulsive move, right? So we want to see some kind of a 5 waver, right, coming into levels of resistance that we do have. I'll explain that. We've got weekly naked point of control at 95.7. The highs of yesterday, of course, but coming into this area of 95.7, 96k zone could be interesting, of course, to start looking for short positions on the next move to the upside, because I want to see that push to the upside getting some kind of choppiness, just like we did the last few days. So we do create higher highs. However, the momentum, the waves are getting less powerful than the first one, right? They are, it is still pushing up. Volume has increased with the latest move of yesterday. The next claim the highs. I want to see a little bit of follow through potentially coming into levels of resistance. Naked point of control, we got a higher point of control at 96.9k. Naked point of control, I'm not sure if we'll reach there, but we're gonna have to see how the price moves up. But what I want to see here is volume on the breakout decreasing and getting a bit choppy in this zone. That's the moment that we'll be realizing that, okay guys, we're losing momentum on the breakout of the range highs. It could squeeze out a few $100. We're gonna have to watch very, very carefully that price action, but that's what you want to see. Decreasing volume on the breakout, right? Not chopping, not breaking out massively, going to 98, 99k. Really sticking around at 95, 96, and really getting exhausted in this zone with lower volume. That's the moment that, if you're breaking above a major range highs, you want to blast off from the level. So that's why we want to be a little bit cautious on the possible blast off, right? Because what they say, you tap the level, and the more times you test a level of resistance, the probabilities for a big breakout are there, right? So just want to be a little bit cautious right there, of course, on the possible breakout. Well, if you break out with a low volume, obviously boom, 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 right? Low volume, you're getting exhausted. A bit of choppiness here on the 5-15 minute time frame. With decreasing volume, it's going to be looking good for the pullback. That is for sure. So shorts are going to be looking very, very attractive here depending on how we break out. Of course, if we break out and we get increasing volume here, higher than the one from yesterday, when we take a look at the 1 hourly chart or the 15-minute, we get lots of volume coming in here on the breakout. We want to, literally stay on the sidelines based off the short, right? However, if we break out and we get that choppiness, 95, 96, decreasing volume, with that information, we could say, okay, this is potentially forming that fifth wave and it is getting exhausted. Let's get ready for short positions, right? This would be literally this scenario right over here, right? So you've got a finished 5 wave to the upside, bit lower volume, taking out the highs and forming that choppiness with your fifth wave, hitting some resistance zones such as that weekly naked point of control. And if we do get up there with very choppy price action, low volume, definitely can consider that short trade to sweep up the fourth wave at least, which is the most common target of a correction. So weekly naked point of control at 95.7k. And yeah, that's basically a little bit what I would be looking for the short. Not that interested in a exact swing failure pattern from here, because I want to see that third wave, right? And then fifth wave, exhaustion, and then maybe that's the moment I would be interested in. Okay, guys, we're moving up with decreasing volume. That's the moment that we move down. So we need a fake out scenario here. That's what I would want to see, regardless if we get it or not. We're gonna have to see, but that's what I would want to see to be confident on entering my short position here. Okay, CME gap. We're not too interested in CME gaps at the moment. It is down there. Nothing too interesting about the gap. Probabilities locally are still to take out the highs. Okay, purely based on this move. And yeah, we will be focusing on the 4 hourly time frame. Okay, it is time. I'm sorry, now is the moment that we need to discuss the different scenarios. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of freestyle here based on what do we have, right? Which is very, very messy, very complex. A lot of people don't like to follow through here. The Elliot Wave scenarios, we're literally going to do it from scratch, guys, looking at every single wave on the 4 hourly time frame, the levels of resistance, of course, but we need to know about it, right? You guys need to know about it, even though it's a little bit hard and a little, it does take a little bit of brain power to understand, complex waves, or looking at Elliot Wave theory and the different scenarios, but I'll do my best to explain on the different scenarios. Smash the like button. It's free and it means a lot to Andy. Exactly, Mariella. I'm not sure. Let's do a like recount here with the legends. First of all, quick look through the comment section. Come on, legends. We can do better than that. 130 likes. The selling is over. Only buyers are left. People think this rally will fail. This move will not wait for you, says Axel. Yeah, I mean, well, we need to look at both faces. I do understand that the rally could pop out here. So there is a very, very bullish case scenario that ends up breaking out with increasing volume. And, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Of course, we'll see. It's very, very important to analyze how we break out from the local highs. And if we get choppiness, then we might just correct to the downside and then get another high. If the move down is very, very choppy and corrective, you form that kind of wedgie structure, then we look for another move to the upside, of course, in the next coming days. But locally, probabilities are high to take out the highs, right? There's no more to it. Probabilities are high at the moment to take out these local highs. So we'll go level by level. I know, much love. ICP looks good. Long time. I haven't checked out ICP for a few weeks now. XRP prediction, please. We're going to go through Bitcoin analysis. I'm interested mainly in trading Bitcoin, and I am looking for a short. Did manage to scale in the longs here ever so slightly on the movement to the upside. Of course, just refresh this. Did manage to scale in on those on that long from last Friday. just scaling a little bit more. Stop loss at the last higher low to see if I can maximize here a little bit of more profits to the upside. And not interested. Didn't short yesterday. No local shorts today. Probabilities are high to take out the local highs. I'm interested in shorts and I want to get into a big short, but it's not the moment. This is the importance. We need to remain patient. Why would I want to get into a short when I understand that these highs are likely going to be taken? So short decisions will be taken once we get above this high and see how the price, develops, right? Do we get low volume? Do we get the choppiness here to the upside, start hitting some levels of resistance, decreasing volume as explained on the 15-minute and the 1 hourly time frame? And then maybe a short could be taken, but for the moment, no shorts taken at this zone, guys. Okay. Let's go through 97 to 98K, then dump. Max short now. Probabilities to take out the local highs are very, very high. So this is the thing. Not interested in shorts at the moment, right? Why? I'm not sure if I think I'm talking Chinese, or might be maybe somebody entering the stream just now believing on the short. But yeah, probabilities are high to take out this high. So I don't want to look for shorts at the moment. Shorts will be analyzed once we get that movement to the upside, and I understand that the price could break out very aggressively, or it could chop around after taking out the highs. If it chops and has decreasing volume, right, and starts forming a toppy formation, I'll probably be interested in looking for the short position. But as where the price is now, that is not the case. Guys, is Trump going to speak now? I am not aware of this. Do we have, news this week? We do have on Wednesday, which is tomorrow. Again, PMI and JOLTS job openings, okay, which is tomorrow at 7 p.m. UAE time. We'll be probably covering this throughout the stream. We'll see the local volatility and get ready on a few different plans, of course. Guys, remember, bluffing, okay? Great exchange. You do also have Velto. Velto is an awesome decentralized platform. You can trade here using your own wallet, such as Ledger, MetaMask. It connects directly. Check out the links down below, guys. Velto has very low fees. Bluffing has a great bonus as well. And you will get a bonus also on my side once I put the Telegram down below on Friday. I think it will be Friday once we have everything sorted out here with the new product. Binance Wicks hold the power of where price goes. I got a feeling Binance Wicks are, Binance. We know what happened with Binance on the 10th of October. Today's price action is crazy. A little bit confusing locally here with New York Open. Bit of a pump and dump. Seems like we're gonna range a little bit sideways potentially before taking out the highs. But as explained, probabilities are high to take out the highs once again. Okay, this is a very, very common zone for people to look for shorts. How many people would have entered this short and looking to enter the short today because they felt they missed out on the epic swing failure pattern, failed breakout of the range highs, and I'm going to jump into the short now because this is it, right? Fake pump. This is going to come crumbling back down. And if you did not catch the Pico top of the SFP, you don't want to get into the pullback on a short. It's just you're getting exposed to getting stopped out. And as explained, the probabilities are high to take out the local highs. So this is the thing. I miss shorting the Pico top. Not that I was very interested yesterday anyway, but people that maybe saw the price action this morning are going to be like, oh, we tested the highs, we rejected. That's a, SFP, right? Well, I want to get into the short today, even though I missed catching the high. I'm getting into the short later on today, even though the price is moving down, and you're probably going to get stopped out. So, it's just not a great idea. Especially with the movement down today being so corrective, likely going to take out those highs as explained. So rising channel on the 4 hourly. Let's see if that is going to manifest on the chart. Do I still get those bonuses if I send it now? Do I still get those bonuses if I send it now? Send what now? I'm not mistaken. Andy, I made the bluffing account using the link a few weeks ago. Yes, that is okay. As long as we can verify that you signed up with the affiliate link, that's fine. No problem, my man. You will be getting the bonus and the potential discounts for the new product, and you will be getting a bonus regardless, okay? Still didn't transfer money. We will require a minimum deposit. This is for you to do your own trading, of course. So yeah. Muy importante. Don't worry, we'll be in contact and we'll sort you out. Guys, I want to talk about something which is quite interesting, about the new president, guys. I've been talking about this at the beginning of the stream. Are you aware about the new president of Venezuela? Let me know, guys, if you've heard about this. Let me just see if I can find that information here, because I think it's pretty crucial for you to see. If you haven't seen, you know the whole deal, that's what's happened with the US and Venezuela. Some things have been going on here, and I think it's important for you to be updated about the new president of Venezuela, guys. Oh, this is not going to work. I had to get it on here. Oh, that's a shame. That's a shame. That's a shame. That's a shame. It did not work, guys. Let me just double check here. Oh man, yeah, it's not working. I'll get it ready for you on the next stream. Hello Andy, how are you? Aditya, my man, much love to you. Much love to you, brother. Oh, that was such a shame. I wanted you to check this video, which was very, very important. Let me see if I can fix this. Yeah, apparently it's not working for some reason. But it would have been a very, very good one for you guys to watch. Yeah, we'll keep it for another stream. Let's see if tomorrow it does work. I'll figure it out. Donald Trump. Oh. Yeah, that is correct. Apparently the video is not working here. But anyway, we'll get it for tomorrow. Anyway, let's go right away through the comment section, and we'll move forward with some altcoin analysis. Everyone keeps your pants on. Keep your pants on. Altcoin talk. Red card. Yeah, people, let me know if we check some altcoins, guys, today. The Donald Trumpo video, did you watch it? Donald Stellino, it is. Trump Tardio, what an epic video. I watched it today, and oh my goodness, couldn't stop laughing for 5-10 minutes. It was insane. Screw alt, says Philip. No altcoins. Much love, Aditya. Thanks for joining the stream, my brother. We got Mariela somewhere in the zone here as well. Stafford is having a break. He is. I'm in charge of the house now. Mariela, much love to you. Thanks for being in charge here with the comment section, with all of those crazy people. How's Chainlink? Let's take a look at Chainlink here. Why not? What's going on with Chainlink? We do see Bitcoin wanting to pump here to take out the highs. Might take a pump and dump locally. With the information that I have on the chart, yeah, I mean, this is likely corrective. If so, you expand the range. Boom, boom, boom. At most, a flat that could take out the lows, or if not, take out the highs directly here. So let's take a look at Chainlink. Screw altcoin, said somebody in the... Chainlink's not doing too bad. It is also rallying here, taking out the highs of yesterday. Chainlink with that pump, not doing a bad job. Yeah, Chainlink, I still hold a significant scary amount of Chainlink. Still holding a significant scary amount of Chainlink. Still forming higher lows, I have to say. Depending on how we bounce here, I'm going to leave Chainlink for the next cycle. You know, I did not sell Chainlink anywhere here. I was buying here like crazy in between $5 and $9. Massive accumulation range. I bought so much Chainlink here that if my missus would know how much money I spent on Chainlink, buying Chainlink in the zone, she would not be happy. She would not be happy. But anyway, still holding that Chainlink. So far, Chainlink has come down to still form a higher low in this region. Of course, we do have this cluster right over here. We're beneath the point of control, but value area low ultimately. Point of control right there, which did act as resistance a couple of weeks ago. If we do get back above that point of control successfully, it could rally a little bit more throughout the next coming weeks. But yeah, we got that resistance right now, which is the point of control of the overall range of the last 2 years, basically 2024, 2025. So we did break below the point of control, acted as resistance, support. I do have that feeling that it is going to pop out here. We do have a little bit of a double bottom, right? We've been ranging for many weeks now here on Chainlink, down at the $11-12 zone. Chainlink is actually looking pretty good to at least test the highs of the range of December, right? We do have those highs. Likely going to squeeze out here to take out those highs and, you know, maybe get a little bit of a breakout. Got a bit of a double bottom here. Yeah, I think that point of control is going to be broken. We've got one resistance touch. Next touch, I do see it succeeding here with a little bounce up here to take out $15 at least on Chainlink. But yeah, we ain't going to do much altcoin talk. Audio very good. Let me audio good. Can't hear you. Is audio good? Audio very good. Good tech. Yeah, let me know if the audio, somebody's saying here that the audio is not good. Let me know right away, legends. Bitcoin wanting to take out the highs of yesterday. So far, let's take a look at CVD. Bit of a cheeky, you know, not the greatest entry for me here. But it depends on, you know, your risk management here. I'm already exposed on the long from last Friday, been compounding as I've been taking profits. But yeah, no major new local longs here to take out the highs. Let's double check here. This movement to the upside. Yeah, a triangle formation, it could happen here. Triangle formation could be one of the scenarios. So if we do higher low, lower high, that's going to be looking interesting, guys. I would say a long trade with stop loss at the low if we do get a bit of a triangle pattern here, because I would ultimately but we need one more higher low and one more lower high at least here throughout the next coming hours. That would be a WX triangle Y and then pop out. If not potentially claiming the lows again. We're gonna have to see. We're gonna have to see here. Let's go through the comment section. YouTube broke, but it's working. Had to reload the audio. Okay, all good. Audio is fine. Audio back. Did a refresh. Audio is muy bueno. Zhao Tao, much love. Audio is good, says Gucci. Hi, Andy and Legends. J Jack, much love to you, brother. Let's take a look at the higher time frame, the different scenarios, okay, on the 4-hourly, because we haven't discussed this. We can't just put our full power on the 15-minute time frame. As explained, probabilities are higher to take out these highs at some point, potentially between today and tomorrow, despite continuing the range here. So we need to focus on the 4-hourly time frame and really analyze the situation on different scenarios. Let's talk about the most bullish scenario, right? The most bullish scenario, considering that this is the end of the correction, as Axel was saying in the comment section, higher time frame. Can 80k be the low of the bear market? This was the bear market, right? Bitcoin's going to rally, 4-year cycle broken. There's going to be money printing going on in 2026. All of those different theories that we just, Bitcoin is lagging behind from Bitcoin and silver. Is there a possibility? Yes. However, the probabilities are not looking too great for this to be a start of a major bullish uptrend. Unfortunately, for this to be impulsive or literally a motive wave, we have to have a leading contracting diagonal, which is not great overall. Not great overall when we're looking for a start of a major move to the upside. The probabilities are higher that what we would be looking at in this range is a very, very complex corrective structure in a WXY that has the possibility of forming an X wave, because this, we would be looking at it as a wave W in a zigzag 3-wave structure. Wave 4 failed. We know that wave 4 failed with timing and ranging. It just wasn't looking good. So now we almost have a confirmation 3-wave to the downside. I wouldn't say it would be a confirmation, because yes, the price could really, really nuke down. This could still be labeled as the wave 4, even though it has decreased in probabilities, right? It's extending too much compared to wave 2. It's very, very likely that what we have down here is a 3-wave corrective structure in an ABC. So that means that we are looking for new all-time highs at some point in the next coming months, right? It could be 6 months, it could be 12 months, it could be 15 months. But overall, it's looking good for this movement down to be a corrective 3-wave structure, which is ultimately good news for the spot buyers, the spot holders, right? People that are buying Bitcoin on the correction. The movements down are for DCAing. They are for DCAing. And I haven't DCA'd as explained throughout the previous streams. I'm just heavily exposed on Bitcoin still. So yeah, I would want to DCA back below 80k if we ever come down there, right? Which I do think it is going to happen in the next coming months. But overall, looking at the most bullish case scenario, Axel was saying here, Bitcoin's just going to go up from here, right? It's just going to go up. Somebody in the comment section, and we're just going to go to time is not a point in Elliot is not stated in the book. This is just observational bias. Time does affect the probabilities, okay? Time does affect the probabilities a lot, okay? I know all the Elliot books backwards, okay? And mind you, saying wave 4 took too long during the longest holiday week in the year, I believe is very weak argument. Okay. It just really does decrease the probabilities, okay? Nothing else. Of course, it could still be a wave 4, but the probabilities are lower, okay? So calm down. Time is important. Time is important. However, structure leads the way, of course, right? And the structure so far, eventually from all-time high is bearish. It is moving down. this for the wave 4. Wave 4s are usually longer than your wave 2s. However, the problem is here as well, you know, hitting the top of the channel, right? I'm not sure if you know about this. Of course, we do have the top of the channel. This really does affect the probabilities as well. When you do have a wave 1 and a wave 2, your wave 3 usually gets out of the channel, and your wave 4 usually gets resistance at the lower or center part of the channel, and it doesn't usually get out of the channel on the top side for a wave 4. That's based on timing, based on the power of the move down, and it all definitely affects the probability. So that is what I understand, because I've read all of this as well. So but yeah, literally last holiday week does the same wacky price structure time. It doesn't matter, the time is, regardless if it's because it's holiday, it doesn't count. Time is time, regardless if it's holiday or you're working, or if there's a fiesta. Time matters regardless if it's holiday or not. Okay, so yeah. As for the book overthrow, on one side usually results on one of the other ACA, the third wave, and the 4 now. Star Guy appears to be outraged. Anyway, yeah. The thing is as well, I mean, when we consider, we were talking about the bullish case scenario here, right? When we consider a new structure being developed from the lows right over here, you must know that a leading diagonal, there's no other way of counting a motive wave here to the upside. Solid 5-wave structure in this movement. So we need to consider the leading diagonal, right? A leading diagonal. You can fit a 5-wave move here to the upside, okay, in a diagonal. Your wave 3 is longer than wave 5. Wave 5 is shorter than wave 3. Wave 4 is shorter than wave 2. It's contracting, all good. Yeah, this has the potential of being a wave 1 or a wave A. If we go with the most bullish case scenario, wave 1, you know, we would be looking for a massive big wave 3 being developed here from the pivot low. This would have to be a complex, you know, corrective move, kind of a double zigzag. The problem is, from this low, if we are looking for something bullish, man, this is not too great as well. If this is some kind of a wave 2 right there, very, very long rangey compared to your wave 1 from the pivot low here. So we got wave 1, wave 2, another wave 1. All of this sideways momentum has to be the wave 2. And now you're literally developing the third wave, or another 1 and 2. Right, literally. The problem is, leading diagonal is in a wave 1 is the lowest probability scenario when we do consider the start of a major impulse, right? It's nice to be in long positions in your wave 2s, right? Wave 1, wave 2, wave 1, wave 2 before getting the massive big breakout. But, you know, leading diagonal is very, very low probability when we consider Elliot Wave theory. A diagonal is more common for an ending structure, either in a wave 5 or either in a wave C. Wave C ending diagonal, wave 5 ending diagonal is much more common than starting a wave 1 or a wave A in a leading diagonal. Okay, so that's something that we obviously need to consider, because it does affect the probabilities for the people that are becoming extremely bullish on Bitcoin here, believing that this is the low literally, and we're going to see price absolutely flying throughout the next coming weeks and months. Of course, we can go to 100k, we can go to 105k, but ultimately I would say that we're not going to see a massive impulsive move from this pivot, right? I'm not expecting a wave 3 here, 4 and 5. I'm not expecting a new bullish structure to get close to all-time high or head up to all-time high scenario zone. Basically, just don't see that wave 3 here. having the highest probability, even counting here 1, 2, and this structure right over here, it's either forming another 1 and another 2. I just don't see that happening, which means that this has a high probability being a corrective structure, longer corrective structure, and we have a few scenarios that could develop here eventually throughout this range. But just for the people that are very bullish or they're holding their spot bags, the probabilities are low for this to be the low, and that we're gonna absolutely rock it here in the next coming months. It's just unlikely to happen based on the probabilities with the information that we have on the chart, right? Starting off with the leading diagonal, and obviously this wave 1 and wave 2 very long. It's just not fitting in nicely, which means that the highest probability is that this is forming some kind of a correction. Now, this correction, of course, could extend for many weeks. We have multiple different scenarios, and we can go from scratch here with the different scenarios. You do have a 3-wave move to the upside that can be a zigzag move. You do have the possibility of this being your wave W right over here. Okay, let's just fit that right over here, and then we'll move around here the different, there we go, zigzag move up in wave W. The problem is your wave X. Your wave X can be, they can really extend. They can be a wave X can be a WXY. So a wave W or a wave Y can only be 3-wave structures in an ABC. The Y wave can be a triangle, but your wave W literally needs to be either a flat or a zigzag. The problem is your wave X. The wave X can be a very, very complex correction here, where it can be a WXY, where it starts off with a flat, a wave X here, which is very, very complex, and then we have a triangle here in this zone with I'm being a fan here of a triangle formation throughout the last couple of weeks, which ended up breaking up. We had the bearish triangle and we had the bullish triangle, and obviously the bullish triangle, you want to maintain those higher lows, and the bearish triangle, you want to maintain the lower highs, right? So this ended up taking out that high and finally breaking out of this triangle. However, this WXY, you have a possible flat structure, then a complex correction here as well, where it's very messy. You have a flat, a correction, and a zigzag up. It's just very, very messy. And then the triangle. So all of this mess could be one wave, which is literally that wave X, right? Flat, complex correction, wave X, and then the triangle, which forms a WXY to finish your X wave on the higher time frame. Then you have your wave Y. Wave Y can be a few scenarios here. One of them is if this is an impulse, which preferably we take out the highs one more time as explained on the lower time frame, because we do have on the lower time frame that possibility. The most bullish case scenario is multiple 1-2s, which has nothing to do with this WXY, right? Which breaks out in a third wave. I don't believe that's going to be the case. It could. We're going to have to see how we test the highs, because locally there is higher probability to take out the highs again, as explained on the lower time frame. But when we do zoom in on the 1 hourly, we do have the possibility of this being wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, you're developing your wave 4, and we take out the highs again. Now, that would be one impulsive move to the upside, right? That would be potentially your wave A. So then you get the pullback. So taking out the highs, yeah, we might hit 95, 96 on the wave 5. We don't know. We need the move out with decreasing volume as explained on the 1 hour 15-minute time frame, because for the moment the highest amount of volume is in the latest leg up that we finished yesterday, taking the highs of the range. So if we pop out with decreasing volume as explained on the 1 hourly, right? I'm not sure if we 1 hour 15-minute got all the drawing here, right? We have on the 1 hourly time frame the highest amount of volume, which is sitting here with yesterday's move to the upside. So we can fit in here, as you can see on the third wave. We got 3 waves, high amount of volume. Okay, it's good for this maybe forming a wave 4. We take out the highs one more time. With that said, your Y wave could definitely be a, you know, another zigzag to the upside, which has the potential of going to 100k, even 102k easily, because what you would be looking at here is just for another larger zigzag. This is going to take many weeks to develop, of course, but on this scenario we're literally looking for one more high that could top out at 95, 96k region. Just taking the highs, it could squeeze a little bit more to the upside, but that is looking at the possible end of a impulsive move to the upside, which in this case we would be labeling as the wave A. Obviously we want to see a corrective move throughout next week or so. We're gonna have to look for, you know, how we develop that movement down. And then, you know, I mean, obviously we would be looking for one more stretch to the upside that might look very, very bullish, That's the B wave right there. And then your C wave to ultimately finish this double zigzag WXY. I think this is the moment. We haven't seen euphoria yet. We haven't seen, well, we got Axel in the comment section that is very, very bullish. But we don't have that feeling of, wow, what a major move to the upside, right? Did you see that on Bitcoin? I think that would be obviously the C wave here. Once we get a pullback, you know, get the bulls a little bit depressed on this bounce to the upside that finally gets a decent rejection. But this move would be the ideal one for, like, wow, look at this, right? We hit 100k, Bitcoin's back at 100k, headlines, right? Big news. This is it, guys, we're back. Right? And I think that's the crucial moment to obviously understand that we have a complex trappy corrective structure. And you might think, well, what would this be when we consider the movement down from all-time high? I mean, this no longer would be ideal for a wave 4, right? And a wave 5, it's like really you know, off the chart here for this to be a part of a wave 4 from this 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't think so. This is something completely different. So in that case, if you form a WXY to the upside, it's still a corrective bounce, right? It's still a corrective move to the upside. So you got a corrective move down, a corrective move up. Damn, where is this going? Well, it just means that chillax. We are in a bear market, very rangy structure. This is probably going to still continue in this zone for the next 6 months, maybe even more than that. You know, the very bearish case scenario, which a lot of people are talking about, which is really coming down to 60, 50k, right? Bear market, guys, we go lower, And obviously this being the low and we go, you know, to all-time high in the next coming months, there's just no high probability based on the information that we have to the upside is very corrective. This is not the most common way to start a major impulsive move to the upside, leading diagonal, low probability, and very, very choppy sideways momentum. To get your first little 1-2s, right, and blast off in a wave 3. So it seems like we ain't going too far away, either to the upside or to the downside. Obviously, this move that could take a few weeks to develop, I'm not sure if this is the one that's going to play out, guys. It's just we need a correction that could last about a week or so. potentially after taking the highs, net 95, 96, might stretch out a little bit, the correction down, and then the next leg up. And that's the excitement pump. That is the pump of excitement. And that's what we want to see, the exciting pump up. Yeah, and obviously we do have the 50 weekly moving average, which is it's an interesting where it is, right? A lot of people were, very much aware of the 50 weekly moving average. If we lose that, close a weekly bear market. We don't usually separate a lot from the weekly moving average. It's a magnet, right? If you separate to the upside, you come back down. If you separate to the downside, you like to get back to these moving averages on the higher time frame. Not that I'm a moving average fan, but getting to $100,000 in a zigzag structure in the next couple of weeks, I'm very much interested in looking for a swing short position here at this zone. 100 to 102k, might be 103. We're going to have to analyze in the next coming days, but I will say I'm interested in shorts now, guys, but not in a short position. Locally, we're looking to take out the highs. I might take a short tomorrow, or depending on how we take out the highs, if I'm awake or not, but as explained on the lower time frame. But this is without a doubt the moment for the swing short position. 50 weekly moving average back test. We're coming up to the equilibrium, which is the 50% Fibonacci from the all-time high to the low, which is also sitting around where we have that 102, 103k zone. Also the 50 weekly moving average. It's going to be interesting. I need a pullback to develop in the next week down to the low 90k levels, maybe slightly below, and then one more leg to the upside that ultimately gets a decent move of maybe $10,000, get to the 100k levels. And that's the moment that I would be very, very interested in shorting. Of course, we do have some big consolidations. We do have some big resistance. This would be a swing short, of course, looking for a larger move to the downside. Got that high volume node, of course. Arguably, sits a weekly naked point of control, also at $102,000, right, from this consolidation. Big level, equilibrium, 50 weekly moving average. You got a complex Elliot Wave double zigzag pattern that could develop throughout the next couple of weeks. We're gonna have to, it's a good swing short, and this would be a big short position that I would get into, because I am exposed to Bitcoin a lot regarding spot, and I'm interested in shorting because I want to hedge eventually against my spot holdings, because I'm not exposed to the downside unless I'm shorting. So this would be a very, very good swing short. We'll be talking about this. We'll be talking to see if this does develop throughout the next coming weeks. This is like 4 hourly time frame. It's higher time frame, but this would be looking for a big swing short, of course, because when we take into consideration the higher time frame, where would we be if this is not a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5? This fourth wave is extending, it's separating from the structure to the downside, and time is important. Like somebody said, it's not on the book, it's important. When you do extend in time a lot by 4 or 5 times, then eventually it's a new different wave. It's much better to analyze this as a separate wave and start, you can't come up here and say this is a wave 4 from this 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And you're talking about a fourth wave throughout the summer of 2026. No, it's something different, right? You just need to understand that timing is important. That this would extend too much eventually. It already is extended, so it's a separate wave. It's likely a separate wave. And if we have a zigzag 3-wave structure to the downside, because wave 4 is no longer looking attractive, then what could this be? Zigzag. And if this is also a corrective bounce, well, we have only a few options. This would be wave W. This would be wave X formation. And then it's going to be interesting, because what could be developed on your wave Y is eventually another zigzag down that does take us to 70, 60K throughout 2026. So yeah, this is the most bearish case scenario eventually, when we consider not having an impulse, which is good. It's long-term good. It means that all-time high, we are looking for all-time high in the future again, eventually. But it's just very, very lucrative for shorts, that is for sure. We will be analyzing this very, very carefully throughout the next coming weeks. If this is the exact correction that is developing, and it's also coming to an awesome zone of resistance. 100K zone is that round psychological, right, 6-digit number, which is coming at the 50% equilibrium of the leg to the downside, right? 50% Fibonacci, the equilibrium of the entire move down. We also have the 50 weekly moving average. We also have, you know, a big range point of control, naked weekly point of control at 102K. That's where we start seeing a lot of resistance. Now, we don't have insane amount of resistance in between 95 and 100K, I have to say. We got a big gap right there. There is some resistance at 95, 96. Okay, little consolidation. We do have a weekly point of control there, naked point of control. However, we got a bit of a fair value gap right there, right? It kind of looks nice to sweep up this zone between 95 and 96 at some point. I do think that a pullback would happen in the next couple of weeks, and fail to break above 95, 96. I think we're not going to get to 100K. So that pullback will be analyzed very carefully. But yeah, this is a higher time frame, looking at the possible projections in this bear market, right? What kind of higher time frame corrections could we be forming? The most brutal one is a zigzag down to form your wave Y. When we do take a look at the extensions of Fibonacci, 1-to-1 to the 1-2-3-6 is your common WXY target zones, and that is coming down to even, you know, $55,000, right? That's the most brutal case scenario, depending on where your X wave finishes here. But 1-to-1 would be, you know, your classic target for that Y wave, which is getting down below 60K. We'll see, because your wave Y could form something completely different, right? Ultimately, this is not about how low do we go. It's understanding that, yeah, we're looking for new all-time highs to happen. So it's all about understanding that the movement down is corrective. And I'm not DCAing. I didn't DCA throughout the last few weeks because I'm still heavily exposed on Bitcoin. But anybody, as mentioned on the stream a few days ago, if you don't have any Bitcoin at all on spot, you know, obviously this movement down to the 80K, 90K region is not a bad area. We're down 30%. If you want to buy Bitcoin at a discount, then obviously it's not a bad zone to start accumulating, right? Or depending on if you have any Bitcoin or not for the future. So the wave Y here not only could be a zigzag, it could be a move down, it could be a flat. That obviously is going to develop throughout 2026, March, April, May. You know, move up, very, very messy, still very confusing. Movements down, movements up. People are going to be like, what the heck is going on? This is also very, very common, depending on if this, yeah, I mean, wave X, like I said, 102, 103, 104, doesn't really matter. But your wave Y is the last movement that we would have to analyze throughout 2026. Just to understand, guys, this is probably ending soon, regardless if it is that zigzag down to below 80K, even 70, 60K. We'll be analyzing how the price develops, form a larger triangle here, which could be very, very bullish. It just ranges in between, you know, 85K and 110K. Maybe that would be bullish. That means that your wave Y is finishing in a triangle here. It's been an accumulation, no major pullbacks, and then the price ends up, you know, rallying throughout the end of 2026 maybe, or we'll have to see. If we do form a big range here, that's it. You know, it's just it's going to be bullish. So it's either zigzag down, it's either the flat. Of course, it would be a larger flat. This is a 4-hourly time frame, or it's a triangle. So we're going to have to see, you know, how the price moves, and obviously say, you know, it is interesting because on the higher time frame, depending on how we move, that's the moment that it would be like time to accumulate. I've got some cash on the sidelines. Hope, you know, some of you guys as well. To say, okay guys, we're probably not going to go to lower prices, or the low is very, very close in being in. It's time to DCA. I will let the people know. If you are a legit follower of the channel, you know that I sold 15% of my entire spot Bitcoin bags at 125k when we got to this region. Just because it was part of my strategy this cycle, sell as we go up. And obviously, once I do believe that the lows are very, very close throughout the bear market, I will let you guys know. I'm going heavily into Bitcoin now. That's also going to be mentioned, of course, on the channel, saying, guys, you know, this is the moment that we are completing this the bear market end. So we'll see. Anyway, that's only one scenario. Of course, when we do consider, I'm just considering that this is high probability a 3-wave move at this point with this extended move. It's a separated move already from this move down. So, and there's no solid impulse to be counted from here. There's no 5-waver to be counted solidly in this movement to the downside. It would have been if this would have ended up taking out the low, then you have your proper bearish impulse structure, but it didn't happen. We extended here. So this, at this point, this being a wave 4, the timing is stretching out. This is why we consider this an individual corrective wave, or the most bullish case scenario, which I don't think is the case, would be this being a wave 1 in a leading contracting diagonal, and this the correction in a wave 2, and then here wave 1 and 2 super long. It just doesn't fit nice. You should be building multiple 1-2s here and popping out here throughout the next coming days in a wave 3. At most another 1 and 2, and then breaking out. But the correction here is going to be looking interesting for new longs, guys. As explained, regardless if we are forming that bullish scenario, leading diagonal correction, wave 1, wave 2, this another wave 1 and another wave 2, so we end up finishing that 5-wave structure to the upside. And the most bullish case scenario is another 1-2, 1-2, and bang, right? Or another 1-2 and then bang, right? We just don't know how many 1-2s could get developed here. But the most bullish case scenario is that we are not stopping. The movements down are going to form a higher low since the previous higher low, and it's just going to absolutely, you know, rip throughout the next coming weeks at some point in a wave 3. On the other hand, regardless if the most bullish case scenario happens, we do have the other one, which is the corrective structure as explained, which would be that WXY. This is why whenever we get the movement down here, it's going to be interesting for that zigzag up. This could be counted as an impulse, preferably once we take out the highs again, because this is very 7-wavy. And yeah, there is a bearish case scenario from here as well if we don't take out the highs. But yeah, despite this being either the bullish one, wave 1, wave 2, 1, 2, and another 1 and 2, on this scenario, for the WXY double zigzag, we've got a zigzag up, the complex wave X, which is a flat correction, and the triangle right over here that we had. Very, very complex one. Then despite the bullish one, which is 1 2 1 2 bang, you are looking possibly as well to form a zigzag here to get to the 100k region. So the move down is going to be studied very carefully if we do get it in the next 1 to 2 weeks. The movement down is going to be so interesting, guys, because, you know, if it does end up not moving down successfully with lots of overlap, I think there's going to be another opportunity to get into a long position. So we're going to have to see. We're going to have to see how it develops, regardless if it's the bullish case, which breaks out in a third wave, which I do not think is going to happen. I would be more in favor of this being a corrective structure and a double zigzag WXY. Of course, it's not all bullish. It's not all looking at 100k. We have a little bit of an issue here where the Y wave could be something completely different. Yeah, this is the problem right now with this structure, because you do have a 3-wave move to the upside. This could be a flat, and this could be a 3-wave up, and you form a 3-wave down, and then you form an impulsive move to the upside, and your Y wave is a very large flat. So it's just, that's the problem right now, where we have such a big messy overlapping structure, which it becomes interesting to analyze the 15-minute and the 1 hourly time frame to just jump into longs if we have the bullish momentum, and just step into longs or short levels of resistance that we can get an SFP. Because the higher time frame, it is true that we are just forming just you know, a lot of different scenarios here. So yeah, let me just zoom out here. I mean, the main reason why this could be possible is because we have the lows, a leg up, a triangle structure, or a WXY here, but this could be a 3-waver. That's the problem here. 3-wave move from the lows created here in December. Yeah, it's not extremely clear, unfortunately. The Y wave would be taking a little bit of time. If we still have to form a zigzag down and then an impulse to form a flat here still, I think it's going to take many weeks to develop, and this would be stretching a little bit too much in time. So yeah, not a fan of that scenario really. But yeah, let's focus on the lower time frame. Okay, let's focus on the lower time frame. Higher time frame still a little bit messy. If we do end up correcting in the next coming, you know, weeks, I was going to say, but next 1 to 2 weeks, it's going to be interesting. We'll be live. We'll be talking about swing longs or swing shorts. Swing longs will be still interesting. I think a shorting scenario here locally is attractive, but only once we take out the highs, as explained. Hang on a minute, I just wanted to zoom out here for another scenario that I probably have. Zigzag triangle. Yeah, no, that's basically it. Yeah, just coming up with the idea of another WXY structure, but it's not too great. So it's not worth talking about. This movement to the upside, as explained, we've been talking about this triangle, you know, a few weeks ago. It could have been the bearish one or bullish one. The fact that we have so many overlap corrective structures in this zone, I do not want to count this movement to the upside from here or from here, right? All of this is a correction. This is either a triangle or a sideways WXY from this zone. So I want to count this latest move just because we have 3-wave up, also 3-wave up and 3-wave down. I mean, this is an absolute mess. It's a joke. It's a correction. This is all part of a sideways correction. So when we consider counting the impulse to the upside, do we have a 1-2 here? And then it's preferably we count it from this zone, because here we have a 3-wave up and here we have a 3-wave down. All of this is part of a triangle, A, B, C, D, E. That's it, or a sideways WXY. I'm very interested on how the move has developed only from this pivot, which it makes it important for my next trading decision. So yeah, when we analyze that low, when we do take a look at this low, as explained, the fact that we have increasing volume at the highs from yesterday, looking at the 1 hourly time frame, from this low, I have to say, yeah, wave 1 and wave 2, that's all good. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to finish your third wave. That's your 1, that's your 2. You got 5 waves here with increasing volume. You always want to prioritize that as your wave 3 if you have higher volume and you have a possible impulsive move count here. This is why this movement, very likely corrective, with the maximum level to be hit at the 382 50%. So this is your common target zone for the wave 4. 236 to the 50% Fibonacci, which currently is in between 93.5 and 92k. That's where the price should hold throughout the next, last 24 hours and the next 24 hours. Basically to see this as a wave 4 and then take out the highs. When you finish an impulse, your 5th wave, this is why I'm interested in shorts, but only on the breakout, only by testing the highs. I understand on the lower time frame that there is higher probability to take out those highs. So I'm not interested in shorting where we at right now for the bigger move. I'm not interested in a short of $500, guys. I'm interested in possibly a bigger correction of a few $1,000s. So we need the move up above the third wave with decreasing volume, right? The move up, I want it to see with, yes, some volume, of course, but decreasing from yesterday's 1. That is the moment I will realize that this is coming to its end stages. And then we're going to get the pull back down, right? Because I think there's a lot of people as well looking for the short at this point, because I do get it eventually, because we are hitting the highs of the range, and we did swing failure pattern, right? We did close beneath the highs of December at 94.6k, and it's a very, very classic level, right, to get into the short, right? Is it going to reject? This is the zone. We tested the highs. That's it. However, understanding the local structure, I don't like it too much. I don't like it. Movement down is looking very corrective, very choppy. And I would be more interested in maybe seeing this. This is very, very possible. The breakout above those local highs are going to be telling me the information. If we move up to 96, 97k with increasing volume from yesterday, this might be still developing the wave 3, guys. What can I say? However, if we break out yesterday's highs, we hit 95, maybe stretch to 96k zone, with the price really not doing much effort and having decreasing volume. We will find out tomorrow. That's the moment that I will be very much confident in that swing short. Of course, a correction to happen in the days after that. We'll be live. This is 1 hour, 4 hourly time frame, 1 hourly basically, there will be maybe time to consider the short stop losses for that bigger move, bigger correction to happen, maybe in the next coming days. Okay, so we'll see here for that swing short. We still need information to develop that could last, I think, between today and tomorrow if we do get that push up. And then, you know, we'll have to see depending on how we are up here, because we do have naked point of control at 95.7. It's a weekly naked point of control. It's literally from this range right over here. We do have a nice little rangy structure at this zone. There is some resistance heading to 96k, so it's going to be interesting to watch if we do get up there, of course, in the next 24 hours, because ultimately from the lows that we do have here, hang on a minute, let me just clear up this mess, legends. Ultimately, we do have a possible impulsive move developing here, right? It is very much possible. Only from this pivot low. So yeah, we'll see by tomorrow if we've taken out those highs. But yeah, I'm interested in shorts only when we take out the highs and really see the power of the breakout. And if the power is shallow, as mentioned, we got that range weekly naked point of control here. Depending on the power, and if we do get exhaustion in this zone, it's going to be another extra short squeeze, which is nice. And if it is a very, very poor breakout, then, you know, determine here the possible short in this area. So yeah, that's a little bit of what I'm looking at here for that short trade. Let's go through the comment section, see what the people are saying. Andy the Whale, ICP shorting, printing. ICP short printing. ICP, come on, I still hold a bit of a bag here on ICP. Let me just double check. Hang on a minute, not sure why isn't this loading? Probably going to get stopped out from the rest of that position. New longs maybe could be interesting here. We would have to get down to at least the golden pocket. Sorry, not the golden pocket. At least the yeah. If we do sweep up these lows, yeah, crossing below the yearly level again. Yearly level did get reclaimed today with this bounce. I just want to take a look at the S&P 500, see what the S&P 500 is doing at the moment. You got a nice rally throughout New York Open. Now this pullback. Yeah, not much here on the S&P. Would be interesting on the price of Bitcoin coming down to the 382 50% Fibonacci, and if it does hold in this region, SFP from the lows could be a little bit tricky here. Could be a little bit tricky. Yeah, I'm not sure if I like this SFP too much. The SFP that I liked was on Sunday. This was a very, very good SFP level. market was still very, very bullish. It is still bullish, I have to say. Obviously, it's still bullish, but we've tested the range highs. You know, it's one of those areas where, yeah, how much, or, you know, you want to be long from lower, preferably, right? You want to long from lower with the possibility of hitting the range highs. Once the range highs are hit, longs, you know, longing the tippy top, we want to be a little bit cautious, of course. To long all the way up here. I mean, there was time to long many pullbacks throughout the last few days, but would be a little bit cautious here with the SFP of the lows. We do have previous day value area low, which is slightly beneath the lows of today. When we get the session volume profile, we got some pretty decent, it is a decent level, I have to say. It is a decent level. Previous day value area low, there is a high volume node in this area, sitting at 92.9k. Sweep the lows, get a bit of a SFP, and ultimately recover. I'm actually going to take it into consideration, just because I don't see this movement down being bearish. Obviously need to consider here some kind of a double zigzag or an internal flat. I mean, this could still be a flat and then a triangle, as we got this movement down. It's just support. There is some support here. Previous day value area low. Sweep of the recent lows of today. It could be interesting if this movement down fails at this zone. Could be interesting. I'm going to set some alerts here at the lows and see how the price does test it. Could be an interesante. Previous day value area low. Moving down right now to the previous day value area low. So Axel was very, very bullish, saying that the price is going to leave without us here. I wouldn't say there's no rush here. There's no rush. If we do hold on this area, previous day value area low, no rush. Price is moving down with a bit of volume here. Is it over, guys? Is it dumpy action? Want to be cautious with longs. Want to be a little bit cautious with long positions, because we've had an awesome rally. Let me just get some levels here out of the way. Let's zoom in. Price moving down with a bit of power. Getting some interesting shorts entering on Bybit. Some shorts entering here throughout the rest of exchanges. No bullish CVD divergence, unfortunately. No bullish CVDs. Of course, we had lots of longs entering the movement here to the upside. So a little bit of a local wash up here from longs. Too many longs entering in this movement up. Too many longs entering, as we do see on the CVD, right? There's just too many people longing here in this little movement up. As the price is moving with a bit of volume, I want to see the price holding for a little bit. So get a little stop here in this region would be ideal to consider that we could reverse. This is a bit of a falling knife situation into support, so this could definitely follow through a little bit more. As long as we do reclaim, find a bit of support in this region throughout the next coming hours, I could consider the long position, but not with this straight move down. We want to see a little bit of a slowdown here But yeah, would be considering that possible long. Yeah, price needs to literally hold on into this area if we want to maintain still something bullish from the lows that we had from this range. So if we want to maintain something that is bullish, we literally need to stay above the golden pocket from this pivot low to the pivot high, because that's where we're considering a wave 1, wave 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for a wave 3. This is the area that needs to hold. 382 to the 50%. If we do get some support and we consolidate here in the next coming hours, it could be the moment where the price finds support and gets that reversal. But for the moment, price is dropping a little bit aggressively at the moment, so not here to long any against the move, of course. On the lower time frame, we want to see a bit of proof of support, see a bit of a consolidation, and then consider the long position. But this green box is where the price needs to hold, literally, if we still want to maintain the bullish structure. Yeah, let's see. I mean, this is still very, very soon. Still very soon, of course, with this movement down. Still seeing this as ultimately a larger correction. Still see this as high probability to be taken, guys, regardless of the movement down here from the low. You just need to see a bit of support. I should have gone max short. Looks like Money Printer ran out of ink for this junk coin, says Ash. Just took some profit. I shorted 94.5. That was actually not a bad little SFP. I wouldn't have gotten into this short, I have to say. This for me, this swing failure pattern from this lower high right over there. Yeah, you know, with this being quite corrective, of course, the correction could extend before actually finding support and take out the high later on. But yeah, if you did get into a short here, then it's not a bad idea to take some profits. Well, so far the price is getting a little reaction here. I don't think there's any major rush. If we do get some local good bounces, bit of bullish market structure. But this is literally the area. If you want a hard stop loss, however, the hard stop loss is a little bit far away, which would be the golden pocket. For this market structure to still be bullish. Yeah, not a fan of catching the falling knife, of course, here for the bounce. Get some support in this zone. Dance around for the next coming hours, and it would be looking very, very good. We've crossed back down the yearly open, the yearly level. So yearly level kind of broken to the downside. We got a fake out today of that yearly level. Resistance, support yesterday, reclaim today, got the movement up. Tested it here again today, movement down. Structure is still bullish, I have to say. Structure is still very much bullish. Structure is still bullish. Wave 4 potential here. And still to claim the highs again. Has a possibility. Let's go through the comment section. Some people got into a few shorts. Happy short from SFP, 94.5k. Absolute legend Mariella here, getting that SFP here from this lower high. These are cheeky. These are not they're not easy, of course. They're not easy because, of course, when you do have bullish market structure and you are looking for a lower high, they're not easy, right? When the trend is bullish, shorting a lower high for a movement down, they are not easy. You need to be very, very selective. It did SFP. It missed the 7/8 Fibonacci by a hair, or just gently tapped it. Yeah, it did actually tap the 7/8. Not an easy short, I have to say. Well, not in an uptrend, right? But sometimes you just need to take that risk. The probabilities are still actually, you know, I mean, this has been a 3-wave move to the upside, but this looks very, very corrective. Probabilities are still high to take out this high at some point. However, this movement could get a little bit deeper till we see some proof of support and a little bit of, you know, market structure change here. Bit of a falling knife here at the moment. So the price needs to consolidate, needs to find support to determine to see if we do get that bounce, of course. But yeah, when you do take a look at the chart right now, this movement down, not looking too convincing, right? For another long position. Want to be a little bit cautious long in here, of course. You know, we've had an awesome rally throughout the last few days. You know, dangers of a bigger pullback are there. They are there. So want to see price dance around here, literally at the 382 Fibonacci from this pivot low. This is still very much a possibility, of course. Longing the wave 4 to have a wave 5 is really pushing it, because you are looking at an end stage of an impulse. So trying to determine if this is the wave 4, or you had a wave 3, 4, 5 here, is always a little bit tricky, right? Trying to get into the latest push to the upside. Longs should be really being taken in the last few days, either in this zone, either in this zone that we talked on Sunday as well. When you've had a rally and you're testing the highs, considering you know, we've tested the highs of a major range, right? So longing to the highs of the range is really, really nice. Of course, that's where you should be exiting most of your position, and looking for short positions, of course. I do think that we do get that leg up. I think I can short from higher prices, not from here, considering the swing short. Okay, I think we can get that leg up to hit the highs again. This is the main scenario at the moment, till the price actually breaks down and hits the golden pocket. So this still remains the possibility here throughout the next coming hours, between today and tomorrow. Find support here at this region between 92.7 and 92k. Get supported in this zone and reverse potentially to take out the highs. The hard invalidation is the golden pocket from this pivot low to the pivot high. Just considering that this could be that wave 3, and we could be developing the wave 4 here, and then obviously wave 5. So this is an interesting area where we need to see proof of support in the next coming hours. If we do get that choppiness, a bit of proof of support in this zone, we dance around, we maybe get a bounce, and then, you know, another corrective move. It's going to be interesting to consider that move to the upside. But obviously we're falling now with a bit of volume, remaining a little bit patient to take that decision long. Want to see a bit more proof of support here, if I'm honest with you. Bit of a sharp move down at the moment, so currently at the 382. A bit of support, a bit of range, and yeah, we can consider this kind of a double zigzag. Let's see if we get a bit of support here. Looks like we heading to the bottom of the range, 4-hour range, 4-hourly range. DCA, says Anup. Absolutely also. Cheeky SFP with good risk management, why not? Mariella, you damn right. Cheeky SFP. Like I said, 112 and bam. 112 and bam, says Ash. Hi from Germany, very nice content. Why are Lambos and supercars are so cheap actual in the UK? Much love to you. Let's take a look here at the rest of the comment. Andy is a whale, I knew it. Very far away from being a whale. Probably a fish. Not a shrimp, not a whale. More like a fish. Looks like we're heading to the lows of the range on the 4-hourly time frame. I wouldn't say it's the moment to be that we're going to move down here very aggressively. Of course, we can. However, this is, I mean, that's the thing. We do what is disturbing is the liquidity, of course, right? The liquidity down at $87,000. Significant liquidity right there. Between 86 and 85 actually, which is the ultimate low of the range. So it's still a bit of more liquidity to squeeze to the upside, but not as much, right? We squeezed a lot of shorts already and big chunks of liquidity sitting at 87k. So yeah, with this movement down being a little bit aggressive, it needs to slow down. It needs to slow down in this region. Needs to slow down in this zone for me to consider that possibility of forming a higher low. Could sweep up this low even, which is at the low of the box. That would be the 50% Fibonacci. Bit aggressive of a sell-off here. Needs to definitely slow down, consolidate, and then we'll probably look for the reversal, but not in a rush at the moment. No V shapes usually happen on this kind of movement. It just needs to slow down, and when it slows down, then we could get the reversal. Bit of a falling knife at the moment, so yeah, just need to wait patiently here to see if we do get that support at this zone. And if we start getting a slowdown, then I will consider that long position. Still looking at this, not being very impulsive, more corrective. V shapes like this are low probability, so we need that slowdown. We need that slowdown in this region. For the moment, it is dropping down a bit aggressively, so gonna have to wait, see some proof of support. Whoever catch that short on this SFP, very good. I mean, these are very difficult ones, I have to say. When you're uptrending, looking for a lower high, they are complex for sure. But you know, at some point, it is going to form that lower high, right? Instead of forming a higher high, it's going to form that lower high, extend. Still in the belief that, you know, if we still continue moving down with high volume here, then eventually, you know, probabilities change, of course, for this uptrend. But as long as we do not absolutely nuke from here and we hold on into this area, we could be looking for that bounce. Okay, so we need a hold in the next coming hours in this green box. and stop this major move down that we've had in the last hour. So it needs to stop. It needs to stop, find support, bit of a range, and then would consider that possible wave 5. Let's go, Mariela. Much love to everybody. Thanks for joining today's stream. Bulls messed with the bears. It's payback time. Very possible. Sooner or later, 87,500 will be claimed. It is written. This is the thing about the liquidity that we have here to the downside at this 86k region, which is significant amount of liquidity, right? It is quite a lot of liquidity that we do have down there. So when we have tested a top of the range, we want to be very, very cautious with longs, manage risk. If you get a nice big move down, well, big, I mean, I wouldn't say that this is massive, but it's $1,000 in the last hour. You want it to slow down. You don't want to long every pullback. Pullbacks were interesting to long the last few days. This one right now that we get in here is like, hang on a minute. Let's slow down. Let's see if we get some proof of support. Do we still complete here this movement? For the moment, the leg down does look corrective, but this third wave to the downside needs to slow down. It needs to slow down. Because if this gets follow through, then yeah, it's not good, right? It will be looking more of a third wave impulse. So it needs to hold this green box. It needs to hold literally the 50% Fibonacci from this higher low right over here, if we are considering this scenario. As long as it does not follow through here and taps 91,400, if we do get to 91,400, I would say that this movement is completed eventually, and we're looking at something else. So yeah, it needs to definitely hold in this area in the next coming hours. This green box might sweep up the low and then get a little bit of a reaction. Sweep that higher low. Remember, there's lots. I got stopped out from the rest of my position that was entered last Friday, so I compounded into the long position. From Friday, we got a pullback long position last Friday. Attempted a couple of shorts that were stopped out at break even. Compounded into that long, also with that new long position that was mentioned on Sunday. And you want to maximize profiting, adding to the position on the last higher lows till the higher lows are hit, right? There is going to be a moment that the last higher low is going to be swept, and I got swept out of compounding that long position from last Friday. Compounded it also understanding the SFP of the lows of the range of last Sunday, which was very, very possible, right? Sweep the low. That was a decent long trade to get in, and compounded as well after that. But right now, yeah, for a new long to maybe take out the highs, this three-wave move, this third wave needs to slow down at this point. Needs to stop here in this zone for the next coming hours, and it might get a bounce. It might get a bounce. So we're going to have to see. Going to have to see. Still very, very sharp. Still very aggressive. Bears can obviously make a brutal move down. Bulls need a step in this zone. Be careful, the bottom catchers. Bottom catchers have smelly fingers. Mariela, you know damn right. Hey Andy, can you play Nova, my MPH? Think it's be a good background music for the stream. Absolutely, Cyrus. Absolutely. And this is why you're short. Fast and easy gains, says CMRP. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Shorts are great because the thing about shorts is when you get into either the wave B or the wave 2, right? In this case, when you get, or either the wave X, when you get into that before the third wave or the C wave happens, the movements down are more aggressive, always. And it's really good because it kind of makes faster gains. Faster gains. The movements up are slower, but when the market wants to dump, it dumps hard, right? This is why shorting is it's more satisfying to short the market than longing. It's more satisfying to short the market because the moves are bigger to the downside and they're more aggressive, right? So I wouldn't say it's easy, but it would be funny AF if it retraced 5 days of up in one daily candle. CMRP. Yeah, this is the thing, right? I would still give the possibility of this. If it does slow down in this region, I think we could get a nice bounce throughout tomorrow. Preferably without hitting the $91,000, which is the golden pocket. Slow down in this region, and it might get that bounce throughout tomorrow. So we're going to have to see. Little slowdown. It is stopping ever so slightly, which is an initial good sign. When the market dumps, if it is going to be bearish on a third wave attempt, it's still soon to say. I have to say, of course, 'cause this is not enough of support. This literally needs to range here for a few hours to consider that it is going to get a larger bounce. This is like the move down is still very, very fresh. It could still be the beginning stages, right? Not a single bounce here is going to be proof of support. This could still be rolling down in the next coming hours. This literally needs to bounce, move down, hold, bounce again, and start forming a sideways range here for a few hours to then say, right, we got the proof of support. The bounce is probably going to happen, right? Once we get that couple of hours of support. But that's going to be the first big major sign that this is not a third wave. It's not a big breakdown. So, because usually when the market is going to retrace, as CMRP is saying here, 5 days of an uptrend, and in 1 or 2 days, the third wave usually is aggressive. The third wave usually rolls over, and the sell-offs are really, really powerful, right? We've seen it, right? When the market wants to dump, it dumps, and the bounces are very, very poor. So far, we're reacting at the 382, which is first initial signs of okay. First initial signs, but we would seriously need to range here for quite a bit. Quite a few hours to consider that reversal, right? Get a bit of choppiness in this zone, not breaking down, and then look for the reversal. Might sweep up the low, but obviously find some support here. But yeah, for the bears, you literally want to see these bounces being absolutely crap and really strong follow through here throughout the next coming hours. So far the bulls are wanting to maintain this zone for the potential fourth wave when we consider Elliot Wave theory of this uptrend of the last few days. So far so good. It's slowed down. The movement down still looks corrective regardless. It's just been a sharp potential double zigzag scenario here. Still looks good for this movement down to be corrective. So slowdown we have here. It makes me so happy that you read my bottom catches message. Absolutely. You know what they say about bottom catches. They have smelly fingers. Double bottoms. The bottom is in, says Swift Dude. Andy, any buy trade? I actually got out from the rest of my position here. If bluffing wants to load. Yeah, I got out of the position. And it is an interesting area to speculate on a long, of course. This movement down is a little bit sharp, as mentioned. A little bit of a bounce here, a little bit of consolidating in this zone can be interesting for the long position, as explained. I want to see it hold a little bit. I'm not expecting a massive V shape. I mean, if it does, then it is what it is. But holding this area is what is needed for the next 1 to 2 hours here. At least a bit of choppiness, holding the zone. When we go to the 5-minute time frame, analyze this movement to the downside. Yeah, if we do get yeah, if we do get a bit of choppiness here, just because after this 3-wave bounce, we got move down, bit high volume here, and we get that slowdown in this zone with proof of support. I think that's the moment that this could reverse. Might even SFP of the lows if it does chop here a little bit in the next coming hours. But I need the choppiness. I need that slowdown in this region, which is, we already got one stop, which is good. One stop already. Now the next test of the lows needs to bounce. Another lower high, another bounce. It needs to chop in this zone. Like local, very, very local double, triple bottoms is what I'm looking at here. To then say, okay guys, the move down has stopped. But with this little reaction bounce after this move down, aggressive move down that we've had in the last hour, it's still very, very fresh, right? It's still very, very fresh. This could still just little bounce on the 1 minute, then move down, little bounce on the 1 minute, and actually still continues moving down with increasing volume. So testing the lows, bounce, testing the lows, bounce, little bit of sideways momentum is what I want to see here. And then I would look to execute that long on a double, triple bottom here. But the movement down is too fresh, right? It is too fresh. Too fresh. This literally needs to slow down. If we are considering this as a 3-waver, you got 1 2 1 2, boom, and a little bit of a slowdown here at the levels of support. My SFP from this low, bit of a choppiness here in this zone is going to be interesting for that bounce. I think it's gonna, yeah, it's a matter of being a little bit patient here to see the exhaustion of the bears. Once that exhaustion is coming in, which we're already getting some signs here in the last 5-10 minutes, not enough. It does look like it wants to attempt to slow down in this zone. So yeah, that's a little bit of what I'm looking for here to re-enter maybe a new long. Re-enter a new long maybe here. So we're going to have to see how this does develop. CME gap. Yeah, CME gap is still very far away. Javed, much love to you, brother. Nice to see you. See ya. Adios. Anup, much love to you. This would be epic and would not be surprised. C Marpy is saying it would be funny to see yeah, a move down. This is what happens on the daily time frame, right? CME gap. Do we fill both CME gaps and finish vector gap, or go back up? Up trading. How do you know when to enter an SFP? It's very, very good. SFPs, you know, it really depends on the structure of the market, where we at. It really depends. Not every high or every low is a good SFP. It really depends on, you know, where we at on the structure. I mean, this was this ended up being an SFP, right? This did end up being an SFP of the range highs at 94.3. At least for the moment, it's just a movement down of $2,000, nothing too massive. Of course, if we were to roll down to the low 87, 86k levels in the next coming days, then obviously that was the SFP. But I'm not counting on it as of yet. Not counting on it as of yet. Thanks for the analysis, Andy via Ches. Much love to you. Do you speak Russian, Andy? I do not. I do not. I would love to know as well how Andy enters the SFP on the 1 minute chart. You know, it really depends on what time frame. It really depends what you're looking at. I have to say, this SFP from the range highs, it's always an acceptable entry. You just need to take profit on the move down, and consider maybe the rollover, right? When you have range low and range highs and some range lows that haven't been tested, if you've tested the highs of the range, you know, a lot of the times you do come back down later on, right? Regardless if you take out the highs again or not, to the other side of the range. So, I mean, this did SFP last night. I did not enter this short. But yeah, it did reject in the end, right? So it depends on what time frame as well, because as explained here, if this does consolidate here and gets a little bit of a bounce and goes sideways, I would consider the possible move down as an SFP on this low over here. And why is that? If we do get a bit of a range, okay, that means that this big move to the downside, as it's got the slow down, it's likely that the third wave has finished from this move, right? And you're either looking for a bum SFP or another SFP here, and then look for the bigger bounce, maybe sweeping up these lows. You need a little bit more of a range, a bit of a longer stop. This is, as mentioned, too fresh still, because this could, it could still bounce, but ultimately you're still moving down and increasing volume. There's no sideways correction here. There's no sideways momentum. This could still be part of the wave, right? So it really seriously needs to get some kind of a sideways bounce bit to the upside developed in the next coming hours, and then the movement down starts to look interesting, because the big move already happened, right? At least locally, right? Well, this is the 5 minute time frame. The big move already happened, right? You want to be in the big move, and if not, if you're not shorting already the big move down here, looking for shorts after this bigger move has happened. When you start slowing down, I do realize that, you know, this could be a three-wave structure. The big move happened. If this does not continue to the downside in the next coming hours, and you slow down, you start getting some bounces, I understand that this could be the end of this movement down and we're looking for a reversal. But you literally need a little bit of more time. Eventually, this is very, very fresh still, and this is the wave down. This is the wave down that I'm interested in. And if this is a 1 2 1 2 3, then I'm interested in the 4 5, maybe another 4 and 5, and then you have that 3-wave move. You're finding support, you're not moving lower, you're ranging, you sweep up some lows, and that's potentially one of the SFPs that could happen here. That's only if we do range here for the next 1 to 2 hours. It's going to be interesting for that reversal back up, right? It might look bearish, it's bearish, we're rolling over, but if it holds on for the next few hours, it's probably going to be the low. It's probably going to be another higher low. So, however, we need that consolidation. that consolidation is very much needed. So yeah. Anyway, let's go right away through the comment section, see what the legends are saying. Thank you, Andy, for explaining. Love the channel. Is there any information somewhere on how to join your VIP group? I'm looking for knowledge. I'm not really interested in signals. We've got the signals VIP group with the Legends Pro community, which we are making one product. So there will be education, daily updates on Bitcoin, altcoins as well. We got a couple of coaches that are joining. We are combining everything together because we had different products, but it wasn't working too well and it wasn't fair for the people that I'm not in the VIP, I'm in the pro community. So we decided, myself and the team, that we are actually also joining with Devolt, who is also a coach, to combine everything together, where it's everything going to be there, such as Bitcoin setups, altcoin setups, videos on daily updates and analysis. It's going to be all in one super powerhouse, and we're just combining that. And I think it will be announced by Friday. I will be leaving the Telegram. I'll be announcing this, of course. And we kind of messed up with the different products that we have. We had VIP, we had the pro community, VIP more for signals. However, people in the pro community were not happy about this, of course. And, you know, we kind of separated all the different things. And we're just doing a one full powerhouse with obviously education, modules, daily updates, possible setups, more coaches, and it's just going to be an absolute powerhouse, of course. And that's what we want to do until the product is not completely finished and we have it very much on. Then I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to throw the exact product to join today, right? It's probably going to be by the end of the week, so bear with me here. I'll be announcing the when it's launched, and obviously it's all community as well, right? At the end of the day, where there's going to be a lot of people also sharing their charts and analysis and also setups as well. When will we take the long time frame trade, Andy? When will we take the long time frame trade? Higher time sounds well. David, much love to you. Just bounced at 92.5. Yeah, it bounced here in this little range. Not that we have a huge massive zone here. Yeah, not much based on support. It is the 382 Fibonacci when we do consider the 5-wave move to the upside here. Potential. So it is the 382 50% max zone. I have to say a little bit of a slowdown here is key. Slowing down here, which we already got a good sign. It's still very soon. It's very fresh. Nothing is telling me that we could just roll over. For the moment, there's a first good sign that it's slowing down. Now it's a good time to start thinking about reversals, right? Be ready for the test of the lows, double bottom, SFP. It's slowed down. We didn't get an absolute falling knife. So that's already very, very good signs at the moment that the price at least has stopped here in this region. And now is the moment to start getting ready, create your trading plans. Local double bottom here is starting to be interesting. A triple bottom could happen as well. Sweeping up this low if it's not swept. Obviously 50% Fibonacci right from the movement up here of the wave 3. We're going to have to see. For the moment, little slowdown is the first internal good sign that we are getting on the lower time frame. What confirmation are you looking to enter the swing short? Could that I've talked about the higher time frame, bigger swing short. Yeah, I've talked about that on just about an hour ago, maybe on the stream. It's round about the middle of the stream on how the bigger swing short. I do think that we could form either a zigzag move here to the upside. I explain it based on a sideways, a double zigzag where you got a zigzag correction and another zigzag up that might push the price to the 100k levels. Maybe we're gonna have to see. Of course, we do expect that corrective move down, And we're going to have to analyze how we move down eventually in the next coming days to see if it is corrective or impulsive. We might be looking for new longs as a swing. This would be only a day trade long, of course, to maybe take out the highs in the next coming hours if we do get more support, local double bottoms. This is just a little scalp. I would be interested in a short after taking out the highs, depending on the volume. I do explain it throughout the stream. It's just going to take a bit of time. The stream, we do go through many different scenarios throughout the stream if you do have time to watch that, of course. Already smashed that like button. Let's get to 300 likes, guys. I'm going to go around the table. Wow, what a lengthy stream. Steven, yes, it is. We're trying to push 3 to 4 hour streams just to see a little bit of the local price action and see if we can look for a setup. Unfortunately, I had no short, no long really in this zone. This is becoming a little bit interesting, but it's too fresh. It's too fresh for that long bit of a falling knife catch. There's no real proper level of confluent support in this region. So we're going to have to go with the slowdown theory here, where we have a possible 3-wave structure and a correction, possible 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Probably developing the 4th wave in a 3-wave structure. However, it is a little bit aggressive for the long at this moment. And it is becoming interesting just analyzing the latest move down, where we have a little bit of a 1, 2, 1, 2. Bigger move here. Little bit of a range and test the lows. Looking for a possible SFP from here, right? You're going to have some stop losses from longs of the last few days that are coming up here at the higher lows to kind of stop them out before we get the rally. If the rally does happen, of course, right? So for the moment, this is a good sign. First slowdown. You want a much bigger move if we are considering something bearish here. And then a wave 4 and 5. So yeah, prices slowed down here literally at the 1-to-1, I would say. Extension. Yeah, 1-to-1, 1, 2, 3, 6. This is very common target for corrections. 1-to-1 to the 1382 is common for corrections. 1.618 is common for a 3rd wave. So good signs for the moment. Quick local stop at the 1236 extension, which is very common for C waves or Y waves and 3-wave moves. We just tapped the 1236 and got a little bounce. But yeah, I would say that this could definitely slow down here in the next coming hours. Bounce, test the lows, then bounce, and maybe test the lows one more time, just because we have a possibility of a couple of 1-2s here with this very local move to the downside when we take a look at the 5-minute. You got that 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and then maybe a 4, a 5, and a 4 and a 5. My SFP from these lows, and then we reverse. So double triple bottoms here are interesting. They are very interesting for that bounce. Of course, you might think, but it's going to form a head and shoulder, which is yeah, you might think you got a neckline right there. And this is a head and shoulder, right? If you do get that bounce from here, neckline, head and shoulder, we go lower. Let's see. But yeah, for the moment, I'm kind of interested in that proof of support here and that possible reversal here to the upside. Let's go through the comment section, see what the legends are saying. A lot of sell volume here. Yeah, a little bit. Shorts. Problem is right now, there's a lot of longs entering on Bybit. What you doing?
Guys, who's longing? Oh, this is going to create some bearish CVDs straight away. Holy smokes. Over 15 million longs entering in the last 30 minutes here on Bybit. What the heck? Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. This is not what I want to see. Bybit traders are the ones that are stopping the market here at the moment from continuing to the downside, at least now. 15 million long entering here in the last 15 minutes. 30 minutes basically. Which is no bueno. No bueno, because you're forming lower highs. They're not doing much. Higher highs on the CVD. Double bottoms are interesting. Stop those longs. Maybe stop them again. SFP. For the moment, we are slowing down here. So this is a zone where you're looking for the choppiness. Choppiness means exhaustion of the bears and means a possible reversal bounce. So just be aware here of a little bit of choppiness. But getting the choppiness is a good sign of reversing, which is proof of support basically. So Bybit bros. Yes, the Bybit bros. Bybit bros. Lighter, bro. Good setup. Lighter. Diagonal H and S already done. Massive bombardment with Moabs. I think it's going to 69k. Wow. Wow. Yeah. No, let's wait on that. Let's wait on that. Still, yeah. Come on, we've been ranging here still. Maybe on the higher time frame, 69k. It's an awesome number, that is for sure. Sorry guys. Yeah, the fact that we eventually could go to 69k, man. This guy, come on, man. Anyway, bear market to maybe continue. Yeah, the higher time frame, we really need to go level by level. Obviously we do have that much more downside potential here. People have been getting very excited with this movement up, haven't we? We got Axel at the beginning of the stream. Not sure if he's around here, but we have, people got really excited with this movement. Really excited with this movement to the upside, and start calling for much higher targets. 2026 money printer go on, right? Let's relax a little bit here with the bullish scenarios and understand that looking at this structure as explained on the higher time frame, to believe that something very bullish is going to happen from here, believing that this is a wave 1 and this is a wave 2, leading contracting diagonal, low probability, this correction down, and this incredible mess that we have here, which looks insanely corrective. There's a triangle here in the middle. What the heck? This 1, 2, it's just low probability to believe that we're going to absolutely get a huge rally here in the next couple of months. Just low probability for this based on how we've moved up from here. Very messy corrective price action, and the probabilities here of having a wave 3 developing in the next coming weeks is not the highest probability. So testing the highs here, which I do still expect potentially in the next 1 to 2 days. Test the highs again, guys, as explained at the beginning of the stream. I think this movement down still has a good chance of being corrective, but we're gonna have to see the support, of course, now in this zone, choppiness, and then we might bounce, but still soon here. I think we're going to test the lows, get the bounce, then again, and then okay, it's looking good. Now I'm interested in the longs. Maybe an SFP from this low, boom, boom. But the slowdown is important, which we're already getting a little sign here on the lower time frame. Not enough, but it's something, right? It has stopped. It didn't get follow through, right? It didn't get massive follow through as of yet. It could kick in now. So it's just not enough time here to say, oh, this is a long. It's only a pullback. It's going to V-shaped recovery. I need to wait for proof of support, choppiness, and understand that, okay, now we're slowing down, and now it becomes interesting to look for the longs once we get that slowdown. But still too fresh, this movement down, unfortunately. So just remaining a little bit patient on the decision here to maybe get into that long. What percentage do you think BTC goes up and same as down? What percentage you'd think BTC goes up and same as down? What percentage you think BTC goes up? Is that what, today or in the next? I don't know. Let me know. I'm not sure if I understand that. I take it that shorts are being closed. I am using EXO as well and Atos. It is free for crypto. Absolute legend, David. Simon, CVD looks filth. Too many people longing this drop. Simon Jones, it does look very, very bad. Bybit bros ruining the party here for the possible reversal. You got 15 million longs entering on Bybit in the last hour. And at least on the Delta, we've got some shorts entering right now. That's good. But yeah, CVD looks filth, as Simon Jones was saying. Big bearish CVD divergence. Longs on Bybit going absolutely bananas here in the last hour. And obviously, prices moving down to claim the lows again. So it's not, we don't like those longs entering the market because, they're going to get punished, of course. Very likely, right? Testing the lows. So yeah, CVD is not looking too great, but it's already a good sign that this is slowing down here. It's already a good sign that we've stopped from the drop, and it's looking okay. It's looking okay to start thinking of exhaustion here and looking for that maybe reversal for tomorrow. And as mentioned, we could form an SFP from this low. We could form it's either a double or a triple bottom, just because we have a couple of 1-2s here possibly. But that's where it would be interesting. Of course, you don't need to wait for the exact triple bottom here. The slowdown here, test the lows again, squeeze those longs out, and then the bounce will be looking interesting for that reversal. Just really chopping in this zone for an hour or so, an hour, 2 hours is going to be a good sign to get that reversal bounce, and determine if this is going to be a 3-wave corrective structure on that possible 5-wave move right to the upside. Is this the 4th wave? As long as we maintain above the 382 50% Fibonacci, it still has the potential of being a 3-wave corrective structure. This movement down looks very, very corrective, so we can definitely take this into consideration. A little bit of more information here to be developed, hopefully in the next at least 2k down. How low will this dump go? Only up now, says Samuel. Looks like a lower time frame 5-wave move down. Looks like a lower time frame 5-wave down. I'm not sure if you are looking at this as a 5-wave down. This is very 3-wavy for the moment. This to be a 3rd wave is a little bit shallow. We only just scratched the 1236 extension. It's just barely a little bit longer than this one. Wave 3s, preferably you get the 1.618 extension hit. to start considering a wave 3. So there is something going on here. Price is stopping, not getting follow through for the moment. So it's a good sign. It's the start of a good sign to get that bounce. So yeah, so starting to see some good signs here. As explained, it's probably going to chop the lows as we got some longs entering here on Bybit. Significant longs on Bybit entering here with bearish CVDs. But I'm happy to see the reaction. If we test the lows, get another bounce, it's going to start looking very, very good. Very, very good for the reversal. As it is ranging here, right? The third wave lost the momentum in this zone. And we're already seeing some very good signs here. So this could be a 3-wave corrective move to the downside, ultimately forming that wave 4 to then just take that high later on in the next 24 hours, right? 24 to 48, I would say. If you zoom out on the larger time frame, we could consider this to be the retest of the flag formation. That is interesting. Let's take a look at that. Whoop. Vamos a ver. Vamos a ver. This bear flag, right? Let's do this properly, as the trendline pros do. Get the wick low and that wick low. We're just not quite there yet. We're just not quite there yet, right? We were actually having a good time with the bear flag bros here. Bear flag bro. Got somebody in the comment section a few weeks ago saying it's a bear flag bro and we're going to move down. And well, this bear flag ain't doing so well after all. Could it be the retest? Scene of the crime, and then we move lower. I don't think we are forming any of that. But trend lines do get resistance and support eventually. This did get little resistance, as we can see. Would be interesting if we do get that movement up in that wave 5. Stretched legs here to 96, maybe 97 throughout tomorrow or the next 1 to 2 days, because obviously after a 5-wave move up we are looking for a pullback. Would be interesting if we were to get that push up here in the next 24 to 48 hours. Let's see if we do hold on here. For the moment we are getting some good signs. It is reacting, so I might consider, I will set an alert. I'm going to watch a movie now with my missus. And depending on where the price is, I'll let the people know if I do enter along in Mind Pillar community. But yeah, just be ready, of course, for maybe potential SFP of. We already SFP'd slightly from this low. I'm not considering this a great SFP, but this one is looking interesting. So a little bit of choppiness. Stop the Bybit bros and SFP from this level already in the next coming hours. It's interesting. Price has stopped, so some good signs there are. Andy, can you take a look at the caps? Where is that? The caps? Look for the caps. Where is that? Let me know what caps. Flag patterns are for retails, not smart money. Ash Wave, you know the thing. Bybit is buying like crazy. Lol. Yeah, Bybit is ruining the party for the bounce here. But there's been some shorts entering. There's been lots of. We got 8 million longs here half an hour ago. I don't know who this is, but at least we got a little bit of balance here. Some shorts entering, which eventually is getting that leg down. So we want to see a bit of a balance, preferably more shorts entering here. That would be nice. Looking at the CVD, if we were to see a leg down aggressively after testing the lows, that is going to be a good sign, because you're going to see some that it's SFPs are great when you look at the delta and there's like 5, 6, 7 million shorts entering at a level of SFP, because that's usually when they get trapped, right? When you get lots of shorts entering at a low, that's what you want to see on the delta, at least, 5, 6, 7 million, or at least a leg down on the CVD. So look at this leg down, but while we test the lows, more lows on the CVD where shorts are entering and they kind of get trapped on the breakout, right? And then the price suddenly reverses, and all of those shorts that entered down here for the break of the lows, they literally get trapped. They're going to have to close the positions later on. So that's what you want to see, really, because that obviously creates the liquidity to the upside for the bounce. But Andy, please, can you explain how to identify bullish and bearish CVDs? I will do that. I do have a video. We do how to identify bullish and bearish CVDs. Literally, you need to go to either CoinGlass or AGGR.trade or ExoChart. There's many different platforms, but literally bullish and bearish CVD divergence. There is a template. I'll tell you what, we'll do a little bit of an education start of a stream. Well, maybe throughout the stream after doing the analysis tomorrow, because it's going to take at least 10-15 minutes. But let's keep a section of the stream tomorrow on giving the education about CVD divergence. Absolutely, let's do that. Let's do that on tomorrow's stream, and I will look to put a timestamp on that. We can do that. Coons also has he has a video. Make sure to go and check out Coons Trading. I think he does have a video of CVD actually. I haven't got one on YouTube, but yeah, I think Coon does have a video of CVD divergence. I'm pretty sure on YouTube. Andy, can you take a look at the CME gaps? Where was that? The CME gaps are much lower from where we are at the moment, guys, I have to say. CME gaps, well, not much lower, but yes, still another. To fill the gap, we would need a $2,000 drop to fill the gap of the weekend. So not too far away, of course. We dropped $2,000 just today. So we're not too far away, $2,000 away from the gap. Well, gaps do provide support once they're filled. Okay, so if you want to watch the BTC1 chart, I think we can get supported here as long as we are holding. I obviously say that testing the lows and SFPing from the lows here, which we already did on the futures chart, not on the regular chart, can be, basically talking about the gap. Sorry, we're just focusing on this. The gaps, it doesn't matter when the gap fills. I know a lot of people like to talk about the gaps, especially when we have weekend pumps, right? And Saturday and Sunday actually has had a pump, and a lot of people focus on the CME gap on a Monday and on a Tuesday, and they're like, we're gonna fill it, and maybe they short a little bit too early and you get the momentum to the upside. But overall, it doesn't matter when the gap fills. I only like the CME gap because I know it a lot of the times. It's crazy how many times it does actually provide support. Once it's filled, it actually gets a pretty decent bounce. So and it's more often, right, than not, that once filled, it gets a bounce, guys. It's like crazy common. We can zoom out and actually look for a few examples on gaps when they fill. Look at this. I mean, only this one right over here. I mean, look at this. You fill the gap. This did fill throughout Monday. This one did get the bounce on the Monday. But look at that gap that you left here from the weekend here of the second week of December. So you fill the gap and, you know, resistance. It's actually crazy common how they do provide support and resistance once they're filled. Look at this one right over here. Right? So you open with the gap on that same Monday as well. It doesn't always have to be Monday. Let's see if we find one that's filled after a few days or after a few weeks. But so you literally fill the gap and bounce. So, you know, this is, I mean, just for the example of how they do provide support and resistance once they fill. So, I you know, pay attention to this gap, because once filled, that's coming down to the 90K levels. You just need to go to the BTC1 chart as well to actually know exactly where it is. So yeah, I think it's literally where we have all of these highs of the last few weeks, around about the 90K region on the futures platform, futures exchanges on Tradingview. Because here's where we did close Friday, literally, yeah, in this zone. So this could be a major resistance support flip, at least in the short term, to get a significant bounce. That's where we have the CME gap, which once filled, doesn't mean to fill it today, guys. Whenever it is filled, you got a major resistance zone with the gap of last weekend, which, you know, can provide that nice little bounce eventually. So, and obviously when we can see here on the CME futures, we can see if you want to short or long a gap, you literally want to get in when you kind of fill it, right? Not short later in this case, or long. You know, you literally want to catch the ultimate low level after filling the gap, get a bit of room for stop loss. But don't want to long here, right? After being filled, you're longing a little late. But yeah. Anyway, let's go through the comment section. Crypto Elliot Coons, sounds great. Tasneem, much love. You can see on Arkham, BlackRock just bought almost 3.5k BTC here. Nice. Yeah, the thing about spot buying, Coons, yeah, Coons, that is. Also great Elliot Wave analyst. Very good. Great education as well. Andy, please, can you explain how to identify bullish and bearish CVDs? I'm going to do, you can check out Coons. Crypto by Mattia, much love to you. Coons has a video, but we'll do a little tutorial on tomorrow's stream. It is going to take at least 10-15 minutes. And we'll leave that on a separate section of the stream. And I'll look to timestamp it as well on tomorrow's stream, just because it's going to take a little bit of a while. And yeah, we'll do it on tomorrow's stream. What are the probabilities of a move to 96k before targeting sub 80k? Crypto by Mattia, much love to you, my man. Go and check this guy out. He's absolutely awesome. And we're playing tennis on Friday. Remember. Yeah, the probabilities of hitting 96k. Yeah, man, I have to say, of course there is a chance of, we literally for the moment created a successful SFP of the local highs of the range, right, of December. However, I'm a little bit concerned about the movement down here, and still concerned about this still being bullish. I mean, this is the first major red candle that we have, okay, from this rally, which is looking a little bit bearish, right, when you do zoom out. But I have to say that the movement down for me is not convincing as of yet, to be the start of a bearish impulse, especially considering this local move down. Man, very, very corrective. This leg to the downside that we have had in the last couple of hours should have gone deeper. Should have actually squeezed out. The fact that we stopped here at the moment is giving a chance for the bulls, unfortunately. Fortunately for the bears, of course. Yeah, would have been nice to get a bit more follow through here on the drop to get to the 1.618 extension, because that would have been pretty brutal move down. And then obviously wave 4 getting developed, or wave 5, that would have been a pretty solid impulse down. For the moment, we've only got a 3 wave down, right? And when we talk about 3 waves, well, we got this, right? 3 waves down. If the third wave fails, right? If the third wave fails to push, to follow through, to form a 4 and 5, then yeah, literally could stop and reverse, right? So we've got a 3 wave move down at the moment, which did not get follow through. For the moment, I have to say, it's still soon, as explained. If we do chop around in this region for the next hour or two, test the lows, get a bounce, test the lows, get a bounce, and we don't push through, then it's not going to be looking great for the bears. However, if as we do test the lows, which could be happening in the next coming minutes, overall we're still lots of longs entering here. Lows are expected as the longs are entering on Bybit. This is where I want to see follow through for the bears, by testing the lows. It needs to push down now. Price needs to push down, which we just tested the lows right now. So it does need to follow through literally from here, because if it doesn't and we get a decent bounce and we continue the range, it's going to be looking okay for the bulls. But it has a chance right now. It's just tested the lows. Obviously all of those Bybit bros are getting squeezed out eventually right now, because we had a lot of longs entering here on Bybit in the last hour. So if it does get follow through right now, then it's a good sign for the bears. If we do hold this region and we get another bounce and we start consolidating in this area still, right, or maybe form a little bounce and then maybe claim the low again and we do not break through, then it's going to be looking okay for the bulls. You literally want to see this movement down get follow through. Quick SFP right there from that lows. But yeah, the bears want to see real strong follow through here, to consider this a wave 3 and hitting the 1.618, right? Consider this a pretty decent big push down, which they still have a chance, I have to say. That's why this is still very soon. This could still follow through. You need a nice few hours of a consolidation. It's still too fresh. to consider the support and a reversal. So the bears definitely have a chance here. But yeah, the moment this bounces, starts chopping around, SFP successfully from this low and gets a little decent bounce, maybe test the lows again and a bounce again, double bottom. That's it, right? You only have so many chances to get follow through here. Then obviously the bounce is next to happen. And maybe that bounce is going to be strong, right? And maybe it's going to be weak and it's just a lower high and then roll over. We're going to have to see. But yeah, this is literally decision zone. If you chop around, test the lows, dance around in this zone, bears really want to push down now. Bears want to push down. As explained, this was too fresh for any longs, guys. Too fresh still. This is literally nothing. This was literally nothing. Anybody that was considering longs here, it's still very, very fresh. Moment this just faff around in this area for the next coming hours, a little bit of more, give it a bit of time, then it's going to be looking good for that reversal. But yeah, if the bears fail now, which they might follow through, they could follow through, that is for sure. But if they fail now in the next coming hours, it's going to be looking pretty good for the bounce. Then obviously the bounce is going to be, will it be an absolute mess of a bounce, right, where it's very choppy and very overlappy? Or is it going to be a pretty solid bang, 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 right? And we see this price action throughout tomorrow morning. Or we just get the follow through, right? And this ends up being a wave 3. So yeah, anyway, CBM was asking about that, the probabilities. The bears have their chance to have a strong move down at this moment. They do have a chance to prove themselves for a strong move. And the bulls need to defend this zone if we are considering that possible wave 4, which is, I have to say, it's not looking too great when you look at the beautiful uptrend that we formed. Getting this type of move is not the greatest, right? So the bulls really need to step in right now if we are going to consider that for wave 4 here, right? Not crossing successfully the golden pocket, right? Not hitting the golden pocket. We're literally at 50% at the moment. So bulls don't have much here, much room if they want to consider this still being part of a wave. They're gonna have to start stopping the price here very aggressively in the next coming hours. If we, as explained, if we do range here, we do hold on 382 50%, it's going to be looking okay for that bounce. But it's too fresh still, right? Too fresh. We've got a bunch of Bybit bros entering longs like crazy 30 minutes ago in this little consolidation. That's never a good sign. Never a good sign when you see a bunch of longs entering here. 8 million longs just an hour ago on that little range. Not even an hour ago. And CVD literally looking like ass, like Simon Jones was saying. CVD looks absolutely awful. Got a huge amount of longs entering here with higher highs on the CVD, lower highs on price action eventually. And you had to have that squeezed out. You need to have that lows being tested, which is currently what's happening at the moment. It would be nice to see some shorts entering here, which we got not many, unfortunately. Would be nice to see 4, 5, 6 million shorts, and that's not happening here at the moment for the bulls, I mean, right? You want to see people shorting here to get them trapped, but that is not the case. So not too many shorts entering here. Bears might win the battle. Yeah, it's rolling over, no slowdown. There was a good sign here, but too many longs entering the market. So it's not looking too bad for the bears. Not looking too bad for the bears, I have to say. If they do continue pushing down here. No slowdown. This was an initial good sign, first good sign, but as explained, we still needed to see a lot of work here on exhaustion for that possible bounce. Too fresh, too soon. Buy bit longs entering like crazy, which is not what you want to see. We've got 7 million shorts entering right now here on, 6 million on the delta. That's good. We're getting some shorts entering down here on Bybit. Some shorts entering here, but no slowdown. There's no long position here to be taken, unfortunately. This really needs to chop around and slow down here. But now we have this potentially being a third wave. 1.61 extension just about to be hit. So yeah, would have been interesting. We'd hold on here a little bit longer, but that was not the case. So we're just pushing through at the moment. Not looking too great for the wave 4 at the moment. This really needs to range. It needs to consolidate in this zone. We do not need to take out 91.4k for the bulls, and we're just very close from taking out that golden pocket. So we could potentially say that we have a completed leg to the upside here, when we consider if we do get down to the $91,000 range, we have a completed move which looks very 7 wavy, and if we have a 7 wave move, we have double zigzag scenario, which is corrective, which is not too bullish, I have to say. Not too bullish if you have a 7 waver to the upside. So yeah, we're going to see tomorrow, guys, a little bit more information. I had no short trade. Longs, rest of the longs got stopped out. No trade position for me at the moment. A slowdown in this region would have been interesting. So for me, there was no execution. If we would still if we were to form a couple of hours of consolidation here, it would still be interesting for the bounce, okay? But we need the price stopping, right? You need the price finding support. Price needs to stop. Price needs to stop, not falling down. These are little stops. These are insignificant. Price really needs to form a little bit of a range and stop here to start thinking about exhaustion and then get the reversal. Obviously being cautious at this moment that this could be a wave 3 to the downside, and you could form a wave 4 and then a wave 5, and then you actually have a proper impulse down. So not looking too great. The bulls need to do a lot here. Need to do a lot, but unless we get a slowdown, then obviously it's not looking great for the longs. And if we were to complete a 5 wave impulse to the downside where you consolidate here and you get another leg to the downside, then obviously the bounce could be interesting. Maybe it could be interesting tomorrow to look for shorts. I mean, at least for me, because I didn't short here this zone today, so maybe I'll have to join into a short later on, if we have a completed impulse down, right, and then the bounce back testing the yearly maybe, which has been resistance and support, to maybe join the momentum to the downside. Let's see. Tomorrow there will be more, guys. Much love to everybody. Remember that at the end of the week I will be announcing the fusion of the VIP and the pro community. It's all going to be in one section, which is absolutely awesome. A lot of people want signals, some people want education, some people want altcoins. It's all going to be a massive combination in one, guys, and this will be announced by the end of the week. And whoever signs up with any of the links down below in the description, guys, will be getting a bonus, also a discount. So make sure to sign up to either Bluffin or Velto. We got a few different exchanges down below in the description, guys, where you'll be getting a BTC. Why so funny? Much love to everybody. Got the links down below in the description. Bluffin decentralized option is Velto, which is awesome, or Bybit, Weeks, many different exchanges. I will be leaving the Telegram down below by the end of the week. And yeah, announcing the new product, of course. Thank you, legends, for joining today. It's been absolutely awesome having you. No new trade for me. Okay, no new trade. Was looking interesting here for a slowdown. I missed out on the short right over here. No longs being taken. Would have been interesting to get the slowdown to consider proof of support and maybe look for a bounce, but for the moment it's just rolling, rolling and rolling. So we need that support and consolidation to consider that possible bounce. Okay, if not, we just roll over and continue to slightly lower levels. Legends, thank you very much for joining. Have a fantastic rest of the day, and I will see you guys tomorrow.